Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this special Arkworld Distributor Training class on the Arkworld Business and how to build a successful and flourishing distributorship with the company, or organization is another concept, right? Another way of putting it, better terminology. This is a live Zoom training, but if you're watching this on YouTube at a later date, right? Hi to you. I appreciate you taking the time, and I hope this is a big help to you and support to you in building your business wherever you're watching this from around the world. And don't forget, you know, we're going to be taking Arkworld completely around the entire planet, right? Completely around the entire world. So with technology like this, okay, we can help train, support distributors anywhere in the world, anywhere and any time, right? They're all there, these videos and so on at our fingertips, right? Just the push of a button on our phone, as I always say. This training is going to be done in 2 parts, okay? Tonight, first part, obviously, and next week, you're seeing this on YouTube, real easy, because you'll just click to the next video, right? Both equally important to learn. It's a training class as well that, this is a training that I used myself as the, you know, not just the president of the company, but I was the first distributor in the company, right? Don't ever forget that I'm a distributor too, just like you. And when I started Arkworld, there was just little me, right? In an office above a pizza parlor, right? With the smell of the pizzas coming up the hallway, right? And doing meetings and trying to get people involved, right? Trying to sell the products every single day, trying to recruit distributors every single day and telling the story over and over and over again. And then what I did with my first distributors was important to me was to hook them in to a training class, right? As quickly as possible. Because the quicker you get them into a training class, you know, the best start they can possibly have. Does that make sense to you? They get to hear other testimonials, you know, how's it done? You know, the basics of building this business. You know, me and David were talking a moment ago about, you know, Millionaire training and so on, or, well, Arkworld pays out more than any multi-level marketing company in the world. So we're probably going to have to change that, as I said last week, to Millionaire training. You know, and you can get to that, right, without obviously the basics first, right? It's done in inches. It's not done in yards. So it's important to learn this. Not only learn it, but to be able to teach it your new distributors, preferably in the first week that they join. The point is, duplication is the key to growth, and it's the key to wealth. You're not going to get very far if you don't duplicate skills to others. It's how residual income is built. We're going to talk about this anyway. Before we get started, here are a few ground rules. I've got some notes here. I urge you to take good notes, as David said earlier on. Relax, okay? As I said, get your pens and papers ready. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun, right, tonight. Apart from selling and recruiting, right? You know, the concepts of how to build a distributorship. You know, how do we go from zero, from here to here, you know, every single day and become successful in Arkworld. Apart from that teaching, there are a few other things you're going to need to learn in order to be successful as a distributor, right? For example, and you can learn them. It's done, as I said, done in inches, a little bit at a time. For example, meetings and trainings. Real easy today with the technology we have and YouTube to be able to, you know, learn how to do meetings and trainings. But if you want to be successful and have a long-term career, it's very important you learn a meeting, which is a presentation, right? And obviously a product training, which we'll talk about, and a business training, helping your team, helping your group. And if that seems a little daunting to you, your sponsor, right, David, Jules, people at the company, I can help you, you know, and of course you've got YouTube. Let's talk about meetings for a second. And this is important. It's one of the, you know, things I did early on when I started as a teenager in the industry was learning how to do a presentation, how to do a meeting. And you kind of, I think probably David feels the same. We take it for granted a little bit now. You know, we've been doing this a while. When I started Arkworld, I started with 3 meetings a week, okay? Tuesday night, Thursday night, 7:45, my guest showed up, and I started the meeting at 8. And it went on for about, well, 45 minutes to an hour. And then we broke up. We got everyone signed up. We had computer in the room so they could just leave the meeting and then queue up, right? We had people queuing up to become distributors, right? It was really exciting, but not always. Before you think, Mark, didn't you get rejection? Oh my goodness, did I ever? I mean, you know, I used to get insults. Some meetings I'd have 12 people, 20 people, that many guests, right? That I got from advertisements in newspapers and flyers that I was doing. And, you know, they would leave. All of them would leave, right? Anybody have that happen to you where your guests don't join, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, so, yes, Katrina. You know what I mean? It's tough sometimes. You never know, right? You never can prejudge who's going to join. But I did 3 of them a week, and it's important to learn them. There's 3 parts to a meeting: company history, the product, and the business. That's all you're really doing. And any presentation you do, whether you be in a lift or an elevator, if you're in America, you know, or I don't know, a shopping mall or a coffee shop or hotel, gym, your work, wherever you are, those 3 parts, company history, product, and business, they should always kind of, it's like you can do a mini presentation. You can do that in 2 minutes. You can do it in an hour, right? And it could be simple. It could be something like, you know, listen, I got to tell you about this company I just got involved with. It was started by a guy called Mark and so on. And, you know, he put it together. It was incredible what happened. He learned about a Nobel Prize winning discovery, you know, that was the biggest discovery in the industry. He lost his dad to liver cancer. That's why he started it, right? It was incredible what took place in out of a tragedy, you know, what happened. And he got the company started. I just, you know, went to a meeting the other night. It was incredible. You know, you got to take a look at this thing. They got products you wouldn't believe off of, as I said, Nobel Prize, you know, involved in this. Discoveries, the envy of the industry. You see what I mean? It's not, you don't have to know a lot of facts. It's really the excitement and genuine heart you have when you're talking to someone. You know, I found something pretty special. Started by this guy, Mark. It's pretty incredible. They have amazing products, right? So you talk a little bit about that. This is what happened to me. You know, Mark lost 28 pounds and 4 inches from his waist on ship shape. It's the most incredible weight control, fat burning product line ever devised in the whole industry. And the pink drink, oh, you got to know about the pink drink. It's this bionic product. It does everything, right? You got to look at it. And listen, there are people making money in this thing. You know, some are making thousands, tens of thousands, and it's just begun. And we're looking for leaders right now. Why don't you come join us, right? Why don't you come work with me? We're going to be doing this. We've just started. You know, going to connect you with DB, my friend David. You know, he'll help you. You know what I mean? Jules is going to help. Mark, you could meet Mark, right? I don't know if that's a positive, by the way, but, you know, you could, or maybe not meet Mark. Right? David's now, there we go. We've got a young new distributor joining. Oh, David. There you are, David. I thought I saw you smiling at me. You know what I mean? So a meeting could be that, right? It could be in an elevator. It could be I just got involved in a company. You know, this is incredible product, and this is what happened to me. If you got some time, I'd like to talk to you about it. And then you can show them a video. You know, that's an invite. It's not a proper presentation until you get a decision, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But learn how to do meetings. Meetings are very important. Best way to learn? Go to YouTube, ArkworldIntl, right? And on there, you will find, he said, have another sip of this amazing product. You will find the Arkworld Business Opportunity, okay? It's 29 minutes long, and that is a meeting. It's that simple. You got to do is learn it. You can do it shorter if you want. Okay, meetings. I'll tell you what else you need to learn is trainings. And I know that sounds a little daunting if you're just new, right? You think, oh, well, you know, goodness, I got to learn how to do training. I promise you, do it together as a team. Trainings are a lot of fun. Product trainings. Jules did a product training recently of the company, a 7-part product training. If you haven't had a product training, speak to David, speak to Jules. You know, it's really important that you get to understand the products first, right, before we're doing the business. There's only 7 parts to it. I'll mention them quickly, but this training isn't for that tonight, but it's important you learn them. Opinions and facts, There's 7 parts to it. You know, don't listen to opinions in life. The problem with opinions is they can be wrong, right? You know, you could be right too, but you're right, you just don't know, right? That's why they're called opinions. You want to listen to the facts, and Arkworld has the facts about us, our medical board, our medical team, the products and the science and the years behind it, and the testimonials. And the best facts always are your own story and the stories of others. Wouldn't you say that's true? Right? Yeah, absolutely. Laws, you know, number 2, laws, you know, learn the laws. You know, Arkworld's approved by all the various governing bodies. You know, we have FDA approved and certified laboratories, the top 1% manufacturing in the United States of America. You'll be pleased to know, Monica, and that's just awesome. I mean, you guys will get a chance to see them one day. They're phenomenal, and we passed all the mega dosage and labeling laws, so all the products are safe and effective for anyone to use. And I know Jules went through all this. What the body needs, that's another one you want to learn in product training, because Arkworld supplies you. You know, we have products here like this one here. It supplies you all the nutrition, you understand, that your body needs. Okay, it's important to understand what the body needs, learn a little bit about it if you don't know that already. It's important, obviously, in a health business. The products, you know, you're obviously going to need to learn about the products from the pink drink, micro, purple pill, and ShipShape. Amazing products, state of the art. And you know, in product training, you go into a little bit of the science behind it. This is all on YouTube, and I'll come to that in a minute. The next one is how to use the products. You know, how do we take them? Very important, right? Do we take them together? What time of day? Do you take the pink drink with food, without? It's important. So when a new distributor joins, you can see why now it's important to have this basic understanding of how the products work. And dietary body changes, you know, Jules went through these too. And as I said, they're all online as well. Dietary body changes, things like if you're lactose intolerant, you know what I mean? Detoxification, you know, because these things can, you know, you can detox quickly when you take the Arkworld product. They're the best in the world. So it's important to learn and be forewarned, right? To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Isn't that true? Okay, so, and the last one, customer care. Is there a more important subject than customer care? We'll talk a little bit about that tonight with retail and how to sell the products, which we'll get into in a minute. But customer care is so important, making sure you're not just taking money from the sale, but that you're helping someone to get the results that they desire. That makes sense? So you're phoning them day 1, day 3, day 7. You're helping them. And from good customer care, because if you're new to Arkworld here, you look, I'm not here to teach you just to go out and make $1 million a month, right? I know that sounds ridiculous thing to say. I understand that. There'll be people making that, believe it or not, eventually, because this is a pioneering company with products never been devised before. We have a marketing plan pays out 3 to 6 times more than any multi-level marketing company on earth. And we're at the phase 2 beginning of arguably the most important stage in our history. So, you know, it's important, but you got to care, right? You got to be genuine. We want people to care. It's not about the money. It isn't at all. It's about helping others. And I pray to the good Lord, who I hopefully try and put first in my life as a Christian, that you understand that where I'm coming from is, you know, it's not about the money. The money's a reward, right? But it's not a pursuit. This is about helping others to get the results that they desire. There's a lot of people with poor health out there. You know, if COVID's taught us anything, it's, you know, prioritizing health. Wouldn't you say that's fair comment? I would. You know, what an opportunity for us right now, the perfect storm, as David calls it, to be able to go out and sell and recruit. It's all right teaching you the concepts and the techniques, right? Because I was talking to Jules about this today. You know, what we're going to go into, it's not so much millionaire training of how to go out and be really successful. You've got to start with the basics first, haven't you? The techniques involved. What do we do to sell? What do we do to recruit? And your new distributors are going to want to know that. But money's a reward, not a pursuit. And customer care is no more important subject. Of course, you're also going to need to learn how to do business training like this one. Very, very important. And again, you know, the good news, here's the good news. You can now access these on our YouTube channel. You couldn't do, boy, David, you can just nod at me. Could we do this back in the day? Right? No, right? We didn't know exactly. Jules, or none of it. You, Katrina, you'll know what I mean. I mean, things have moved on real quickly. You can go to ArkworldIntl, right? I suggest you do that. Download, if you haven't already, WhatsApp on, not WhatsApp, YouTube on your phone, and then subscribe to ArkworldIntl and click on the bell for all the future notifications. You know, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Isn't it? Exactly. So you can learn them. We're also going to provide next month my training notes. So if you want my original training notes on how to do a product training, how to do a business training, right? This isn't even it yet, by the way. So you can see why it's important to prepare you for all this. This is about grooming. Often when people join multi-level marketing companies, they're thrown in a hotel room for an hour or two. They go home, their head's spinning, and they think, what was that about? I don't know what to do next. You've got to be groomed. It's step at a time. And repetition, I'll never apologize for it, hearing the same thing over and over again. Take good notes, right? It's done in inches, not yards. Keep learning, keep listening. We can provide my notes. I started my career as a teenager from notes. We didn't have videos. Do any of you guys do the same? So on journals, right? We used to keep a journal. We didn't have phones, iPhones. Goodness, I remember when a fax came out. I didn't even know what a fax was. Anyone, do you remember when faxes come out? Anybody? Right? I'm 83, by the way. Does anyone believe I'm 83? Right? It's a good product, isn't it? All right, I'm not 83. But I might be 83 by the end of this training. It's so hot in here. But, who remembers faxes? I remember I got a fax and this paper. I couldn't understand how in the world you write a message and send it to someone in Australia and your handwriting came out. I thought that was unbelievable. Look how far we've come. Unbelievable. So, done in inches, right? You can't drive a Formula One car without learning to drive first. As my piano teacher used to say to me, and this is the position we're all in now. I don't care whether you've been in multi-level marketing before or not. It doesn't matter. My piano teacher used to say to me, if I just do this here as someone went, first you learn to play slow, then you learn to play fast. But you got to learn to play slow and correctly first. And so it's done in inches, okay? Now, with that said and done, we're going to take good notes, get into this training. Remember, though, I suppose you might call it a training disclaimer, and that is the best training in life is actually never theory anyway. It's great we're all on here tonight, and it's important that we are. And it's important you watch this over and over again. But the best training in life is always from practice, from making mistakes, and learning from them, hopefully, in the mistakes of others, wouldn't you say? It's never from theory. It isn't. It's never from theory. You need to hear this over and over every week and support each other and grow in it. Now, there's a golden rule. Before we get into the first part of the training, there's a golden rule, which I put in specially for David. It isn't part of the normal training, but it's important, and he's going to understand that any second when I say it, and that is this. Why is it some people succeed and some don't? You ever looked at that? Isn't that true? I can teach you business training. Why do some people succeed and some don't? I know what you're thinking, right? Experience, talent, education. Well, there's points to that, but I've met the same people, similar people in companies, and same in Arkworld, similar backgrounds, similar hours, both in full-time jobs, both have kids, both have same kind of talent, education levels, and so on. One's making a few £100, the other's making 10, 20,000 a month. Question, why? What's the difference? It's not the products. I can tell you that. The products, this thing, same for everyone. Isn't that true? It's not the business. It's not the company. Never is. Because otherwise, one person succeeding, we know it works, right? When I started to make money in the beginning and then my distributors, I knew it worked. I knew the product worked, people were getting results, and the business worked. It doesn't change, right, for different people. The same winds blow on us all. Isn't that true? The same winds of recession, the same winds of you know, whoever wins the election, you know, Biden or Trump, throw that in for Monica there, just in case Trump runs again and you know, you have the same thing as before. We enjoy watching that, by the way. It's a lot of fun over here in the UK. You know, the same winds blow on us all, wouldn't you say? Family crises, you know, the health issues in the family, deaths in the family. It happens to all of us. It's the same for everyone. It's not about recession. It's not the weather. And it's not because you're in love again, right? It's not. None of those, right? You know, it isn't. What it's down to is you. The only variable here is you, not the products, not the business, and not the company, not the marketing plan. It's the only variable is yourself. You got to go to work on you. This is one thing I've done more than anything else in my life. It's okay teaching you basic business training, which we're doing this week and next. And I've added this stuff in tonight so that we could do this in 2 parts, because I really want to get it across to you how important change and development is. As Jim Rohn used to say, for things to change, exactly, you got to change, right? For things to get better, you've got to get better, right? It's not going to change. I'll tell you what next year will look like unless you change something. Exactly the same as this year. The government are not going to do it for you. No matter who gets in America when they have the elections, they're still not going to do it for you, right? I know it's important. I get that, right? But you got to change. For things to change, you got to change, right? For things to get better, you got to get better. It's important. You know, you got to keep listening, keep learning, keep growing, keep developing, right? Before you think, well, how do we do that, Mark? We're going to teach you that. There's going to be a lot of millionaire or billionaire training in Arkworld. There's going to be a lot of personal development. And I'm going to share concepts with you that made, I mean, there was only a real few concepts that made most of the difference in my entire life, to be honest with you. Wouldn't you say that's true? I know some of you have done that as well. And we're going to share them with you, going to help you. You see, as a Christian, I tell you this now, you wouldn't grow too much if you didn't pray every day, read your Bible and go to church and didn't have study. Would you grow a lot? No, of course you wouldn't. We're required to do something. That's our position. We're required to be able to grow. We've got to be in the position to be available for change to happen. Wouldn't you say? Does that make sense to you? It's like a plant, right? We need watering. You don't water a plant, it's going to shrivel up and die. All right, you got to keep watering. And that's, you know, that personal development is so important. I made a big note of it. You need to be groomed for success. I know, it's okay, you know, we want to get to the training, Mark. I tell you, this is probably more important than anything you'll ever hear in your entire career. If there's one thing I want to get over to you is this. It's done in inches. I know I keep saying that, but it is. And it's this personal growth, development, you know, hang around successful people, listen to CDs, online recordings, videos, read success, development books, soak it up. I tell you, it's no accident David recruited 30 people in his first month. That's a staggering amount of distributors. That's massive recruiting. A massive action equals massive results. It's no accident he can do that. That's personal development that's done it. It's opening his capacity to be able to take more on. Do you see what I'm saying? That makes sense? Capacity for growth. You know, we're not doing this tonight. We're going to do a lot of that stuff in executive workshops and leadership trainings, but I wanted to mention it. So how do we get started? How do we put all this into practice and go from here, right? Because God willing, this could be the beginning of a journey I personally believe could be the most life-changing, defining moment for all of us with Arkworld. If you weren't on last week's meeting, you know, this is the perfect storm, the perfect time. The foundation's laid. We're about to take this global. You're in a position you've never been in before. I promise you. You're going to see unbelievable things happen in the next 5 to 10 years. I can't do it for you, but I need your help. Work with me, work with David, Jules, and the rest of us on here. You know, it's just like we were speaking, you know, Saturday night. This means a lot to me. It means a lot to us. Glory to God, because this is much, much more than just building a business. Otherwise, we wouldn't be on a three-way at nearly midnight on Saturday night with Joanna, would we, David? I saw you, Joanna, right? You know what I mean? We'd be watching a movie or something, but we're not, because it means that much, right? We're serious about this. We're excited, but we're deadly serious too, right? So never apologize for repetition, right? You need to go, if you need to go through this, growth, it's beautiful, starts right now, right? Step at a time. So, number one, we're going to go through some things here, and then we're going to get into some retailing, and I'll tell you what we're going to be doing next week. How are we doing? Okay, we're doing fine. Make sure, check there. Right. Number one, getting started. Put in your notes. This is what you want to be teaching new distributors. To be successful in Arkworld, you heard me say it last week. This is, by the way, not, I know you're going to think, right? There's nothing magic in this, Mark, right? All companies do this. Absolutely right. Every multi-level marketing company or business out there has this same philosophy in many ways. It's just something we've applied to make it easy to understand. And that is, number one, use the products, right? You're not going to get very far without using the products. Katrina, are you? No, it's because you smiled at me. You see, I saw the reaction. Number two, right? Talking to people, right? You got to talk to people. Obviously, when you think of multi-level marketing in general for a minute, forget what tool you use. Whether you wear a button, do a flyer, stand on your head, wear a sandwich board, whatever it is, you got to use the product no matter what company you're in. Isn't that true? You got to talk to people. You're not going to get very far without it. And number three, you need to teach others to do the same. Use, talk, teach. It's the philosophy that's built multi-billion-dollar empires, and I was part of one of them as a young kid. Use the products, talk to people, and teach others to do the same. Now, let's just go through them quickly because I want to expand on them. Using the products. Now, there's a good point to this. Why would anybody join any business and not put an order in for products? Personally, I do not understand it. It's going to happen to you if it hasn't already. But it's not about making money from a sale. We've already spoke about that, right? You can't really speak to anyone unless you have a sincere passion, you know, personal belief in what you're doing, right? No matter what it is. You'd be surprised, okay, how many people in different companies don't use their own product. Have you heard of this before? Yeah. I don't know how you do it. It's not even ethical, is it? I mean, you got to be on the product. And here's the next one. Use all the products. You only sell what you use. You'll only ever speak and sell something from the heart with sincere passion, and you'll sell a lot more of them because it'll be genuine. It won't be fake excitement. If you're using a product, you're going to, you know, you're telling someone to get on the pink drink, but you're taking ship shape, but you're not on the pink drink, right? And you say, oh, you got to get on the pink drink. And they say, oh, I'm on it. It's great. I've got on it and they love it. Oh, I'm loving this product. How you doing? I say, well, I'm not on it, but I want you to use it. You know what I'm saying? You know, doesn't work. Use all the products. You'll only sell what you use. Here's the formula, right? I know you've heard it before. Use some of the products. You'll make some of the money. Use all the products. You'll make all the money. You'll only sell what you use. And we'll talk about stock in a moment. And it's very, very important. Does that make sense to you? Okay, enough said. Talking to people. Let's get into this part. It's the foundation, okay, using the products, your belief level. When you talk to people as distributors, there are two things we do as distributors. We sell and we recruit. In other words, the products and the business. They're the two things. In fact, we taught nothing else over the next 2 weeks, selling and recruiting. That is the crux of your business. What we do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 6 days a week. We sell and we recruit. We sell and we recruit. David and I were talking before this meeting about what you're teaching people and what we're going to be teaching people. I really respect him because he's, as I said, hung around some of the most incredible people in the industry. We both share similar backgrounds like that. And, you know, we were talking about You need the, basics, the basics, techniques of what are we going to do every day, Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday, of selling and recruiting, getting customers and getting distributors. They're the two main, that's the two main jobs we do as distributors. And when we sell and recruit, the best way to sell and recruit always, and don't ever forget this, is by what? What's the best way to do it? Stories, right? Testimonials. Best way. We all know that. A story will get people to the big picture quicker than anything else. It's like if you go to see a movie, right? You recommend it to someone, say, oh my goodness, I went and saw that movie there. You've got to go see it. It's unbelievable. Let me tell you what happened. I won't tell you the ending, but let me tell you. And you promote it. The person goes, you put money in the movie company industry's pocket. You don't get paid at all, but you've recommended a movie. It's the same here. And you've told the story of when you went. It's a testimonial. Stories of health and weight loss results. And also don't forget the business. Income testimonials. Very, very important, right? You can tell Arkworlds. When I got started in Arkworld, I went out, recruited 31 people in my first month. I had got 21 customers my first month. And the company, I was able to achieve, thank you by the grace of God, to be able to do $46,000 in wholesale, which I think was nearly director, in my very first month, working absolutely night and day. And all I did all day long was tell testimonials. In fact, when I started and I didn't have testimonials and I had to talk a little bit of science, I still told them the story of Arkworld. I've just started today. So it was always about a testimonial, right? It was. And they were getting excited by it, the passion, because I was on fire with this, the passion in you. And that really passion, I tell you, it's not what you say, it's how you feel about it, the passion behind it. So here's a formula. Now, if you want to know, if you'd sat me down and interviewed me and said, Mark, what's the one defining moment in your life in multi-level marketing that you can remember in training? The one moment. In fact, I'd love to ask David that one of these days. I'll tell you mine right now. And here it is. I know you're going to laugh. It's simple. It's nothing amazing. But it was amazing to me when I was 18 years of age and I had earrings, right? Lots of earrings going on. And I had a Panama hat and jeans, by the way. I look good, but you had some beads going and everything, and I looked pretty good. But I had no idea at all what I was doing and probably no idea what planet I was on. If you'd met me, when I went to a meeting, everybody kind of and sat down, everybody left. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want their guests sitting next to me. You know what I mean? So this was a major thing for me, what I'm about to tell you. So I know you're not going to be as impressed. I get that, right? But for me, this changed everything. Tell you why before I tell you. It changed everything because, just click off this here, changed everything because I thought being successful, my dad was a mechanic, right? My mom was a housewife. And I thought being successful and going out, and I didn't want to work for 40 years doing a trade. No offense if you're in a trade, by the way. Just wasn't for me, My dad hated what he was doing. And I thought, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that for 40. And we argued, because your dad's always right, right? So, and I left home and I thought I want to do something else. So I thought, unless you had a degree, right? Or I don't know, you had a suit on, or you spoke a certain way, or had a certain education, you couldn't make it. Until I heard this. A guy called Larry Thompson taught me this, which Katrina also remembers. And I don't mind mentioning, always be grateful for the past you have that brought you to this moment. You know what I mean? It's very, very important. The people I grew up with, and it was the same for them. Larry would have been nothing if it wasn't for the person, Gil Wilson, and the people that got him involved when he started. He was a construction worker. When he joined a multi-level marketing company, he drew the marketing plan in the cement. Hands up, any of you guys know that story, right? Yeah, exactly. So listen, I thank him for this. Praise God for Larry and the stuff I learned. Here it is. If you talk to some people, you tell some testimonials, you'll make some money. On Monday, you talk to some people on Monday. You do some You tell some testimonials, you do some presentations on Monday. I'm telling you, you're going to make some money. You do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, repetitive. Do you see what I'm saying? It's every day. Sales is plural, means more than once, right? Right? Not once, more than once. If you talk to some people, I promise you, you're going to make some money. You're going to get some success in Arkworld. That's it. Promise you. Here's the next one. You talk to lots of people. You tell lots of testimonials. You're going to make lots of money. Monday, you talk to lots. You're going to get lots. Now, I know that's not going to go, wow, Mark, that was unbelievable. It's changed my life. Let me tell you what it did for me at 18. Changed mine. Because I thought, you need to understand this. Why? Why was that so significant for me? Because I used to look up to business people twice my age in their 40s and 50s, in their suits and ties, sitting like I am now, thinking, how in the world am I ever going to do that? I can't do that, right? I can't, I don't have their skills. Until I was told it doesn't matter what skills you have. It doesn't matter what background you have. It's irrelevant. Because if you talk to some, you're going to make some money. If you talk to lots, you can get wealthy. And that changed everything for me. So I thought, my goodness, so if I talk to, if someone's really good at this and they talk to 10 people a day, right, and they get 1 in 10, and I got to talk to, I don't know, 20, right? All I got to do is just talk to more people, and I can match the best person in the business. That changed everything for me. In fact, I can not only match them, I can beat them. I can beat the best people, because if I talk to more people than them, I'm just going to get more results. You know, this is so significant. You see, here's the point. Here's the question you got to ask yourself when you start doing this business properly. We're either next Monday, you're either going to talk to none, some, or lots, right? Tuesday, you're either going to talk to none, some, or lots. Wednesday, you're either going to talk to none, some, or lots, right? Today, you either talk to none, some, or lots. That's what happened. Here's the tendency, right? We said, it's okay, Mark. Now I got some good plans coming. Put my website together and my flyers, and oh, it's coming, right? My God, this is going to be so good. You wait till it gets started. I don't want to hear about your fancy plans. When I started up, well, I didn't even have a website. I was above a pizza parlor, right? Nobody wanted to join. I used to have to talk to 20 people to get one to listen to me. David, you've been in that position in your life? Yeah. David, I said it last week. He said he was the king of rejection. I must have been if he was, I was the king of insults. I had everybody insult. I had a product. See this product? I couldn't afford labels. I glued them on with Yoo-hoo glue at night. And then I sold the product the next day. Nobody wanted to join, right? But I kept talking to lots. That was the key. I didn't get distracted. Beware the weapons of mass distraction. Oh, wait until this happens. I'll start when I get to this point. I'll start when I do that. You'll never start. You'll never get there if you do that. You don't need anything. Start today. Where's the production today? That's the only question you ask at the end of each day. Where's the production today? Don't tell me about your plans. How many people did you seriously talk to about your products and opportunity today? That makes sense to you? I know it's hard conviction, but that's why it worked in the beginning. I was talking to people at 2 in the morning when I was putting petrol in my car, right? Sorry, Monica, they want me to be English. What can I tell them? And I'm not American either, but that's another story. When you're putting petrol or gas in your car, you need to be pitching the guy. I'd be talking to, I'd go and buy some fruit. I was pitching the guy. I'd carry my products around with me. We're going to get into that in a moment. Does that make sense to you? I tell you, if you learn that, Anybody can do, everybody on here tonight. Let me just admit someone here. Daryl's coming on. Welcome, Daryl. Here he comes, David. Daryl's here. But if you're watching us on YouTube, this is a live Zoom meeting. We're admitting people as we speak. Okay, Daryl's in. Hi, Daryl. So, testimonials, the big picture, right? Talk to some, you get some. Talk to lots, you get lots. Testimonials, here's why. If you can see it, you can sell it. Never forget this in life. You'll never sell something you haven't bought the story of yourself first. Does that make sense? Why did David recruit 30? He saw it immediately. In fact, he couldn't wait to join. Right? You had to almost tie him down not to join. And even then he'd break out, you know? Right? And that's infectious. Now, some of you, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to get you to train yourself. Just a show of hands. It doesn't matter if there's 2 or 3 of you. Hands up who joined because David spoke to them on the phone. Just raise your hands if there's a few of you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, most people, okay. When you get off this training tonight, or even now, ask yourself, what was it that David said? And by the way, we're going to get David to do a training, so we're going to find the answer out, right? But you can tell me the truth, right? Not what David tells me. Right? What was it that David said to you? And I'd like to put money on it. I'm not a gambling man, but it wasn't just what he said to you. You know what David's like. He's exciting, isn't he? He's always positive. I heard that Katrina was in the shower in America. I'm really embarrassing on him, right? I'm sorry, honey. But, you know, he didn't care. He was excited, right? His attitude, you just got to join it. Because I'd like to also bet you probably didn't have a clue what he was talking about to start with. Wouldn't you say that's fair? You know what I mean? You're not going to know what it is. So he phones up, you're all excited. You know, it's sincere excitement. Speaking, but he got the big picture over to you quickly. His enthusiasm alone will do that. If you can see it, you can sell it. Okay? I promise you, write it in your notes. Very important. See, here's the point. There's a psychological process that everyone goes through when they're buying a product or becoming a distributor. If you want to know the key, why people say no to you and why some people say yes to you, here is why. It's not the product. How would they know? They haven't tried it. Right? It's not the business. They're not joined yet. It can't be any of that. It's not the company. They don't even know about it. There's a psychological process that everyone goes through when they're buying a product or becoming a distributor or doing anything in life. That is this. Number one, it's simple. When you're talking to someone, they've got to think that it's simple. No one ever does anything complicated in life. If they think it's a complicated mess and a nightmare, they'll never join. No one, hands up who's ever started a relationship before. I love this relationship. It's the most complicated nightmare I've ever been in. You know what I'm saying? No, of course not. Impossible. Love is simple. Beautiful. But it should be simple. Right? So the first thing they got to think is it's simple. Number two, they got to think, I think it can work. You got to think it's going to work. If you think it's never going to work, you're never going to join. Right? Testimonials, remember, they're the best way to prove that. If someone's having success, they'll get them through this. You can see why, right? Simple. I think it can work. Here's number three. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. I think I'll get involved. If you don't reach those 3 points with someone, they'll never join. I don't care what you're selling. It's the same in anything in life. They'll never join. They won't join something complicated they don't think will work and won't work for them. Testimonials, get them. Now, here's the key point and why I brought this up. It's okay teaching you how to sell and how to recruit. We're going to go into selling in a minute. But you've got to know why people say no to you and why people say yes to it. It's not the product and it's not your pitch. And I want to get this, train this almost out of you, because the world teaches us that it's how we speak. And that person's better than this person. It's nothing to do with it. It's how quickly you get the big picture over. Why? Because it's not the messenger who's the issue. It's the message. And you can all deliver the message. And what does it better than anything? A testimonial. Does this make sense to you? Right. Okay. So testimonials get you there the quickest. You see, stay away from too much science, guys. This is my warning for you when you're talking to people. Don't get into too much science. It makes it so much harder to teach. You know, you can mention the Nobel Prize, but if you're going to do an hour's lecture on, you know, the ins and outs of nitric oxide, it's going to be pretty difficult for people to, it's Katrina smiling. You know what I'm saying? Keep it simple, right? Keep it, if you don't have any testimonials, Jules is like a testimonial catalog, right? Call Jules, she'll have loads for you. And learn them, right? We'll talk about testimonials in a minute with testimonial books. You know, people do what you do. They don't do what you tell them to do. So if you do this, we're like children. All of us do this. We copy. Your distributors will do it. And duplication is the key. It really is. Duplication. Keep it simple. Now, let's talk about wearing the button and pushing the button. Not going to spend long on it. Why do we wear a button? You don't have to wear a button, by the way. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Don't think it's one of those deals where I won't let you in the meeting if you haven't got a badge on. Right? We just reduce your check. That's all we do. No, I'm just kidding. By the way, watching us on YouTube, we don't reduce your check. That was a joke, bad joke. You don't have to wear a badge, right? Do I think you're insane if you don't? A little bit, right? It's not about a button. It's not. It could be a T-shirt. It could be a hat. It could be a bumper sticker on your car saying "Lose weight with ship shape. Ask me how," and your phone number. You know, whatever it is. It's the same as joining a football team. It's the Women's World Soccer. Football is on at the moment. You know, and when you look around, there's branding around the stadium, isn't there? Sponsorships, advertising. It's free advertising. A button, why you wouldn't wear one is beyond me. It's your uniform. I look at it that way. You know, you go and play for a football team, put the uniform on. It gets you out there. I'll tell you another thing. I haven't made a note of, I just thought of it. Now I'm going to give you 100 people in your business. In fact, heck, let's say 100 get 10 each, and let's give you 1,000 across America, and let's make it Monica. Monica's got 1,000 people across America. In a pioneering time when we're about to build America, and America, by the way, is $1 billion a year company alone on the pink drink alone, the greatest anti-aging product ever devised, the only one of its kind on earth. And Monica's at the forefront of that. And we end up with thousands of people across America. Here's the choice. Would you like thousands of people wandering around New York and Chicago and Texas and California with the greatest product that's ever been discovered and devised, wearing buttons and everybody going, what's that, what's that, what's that? Or would you like the same amount of people wandering around where no one speaks to you because no one's really advertising anything and they're not wearing a button? Which option, A or B? A, yeah, of course. It's not about you, because I know what you're thinking. It makes holes in your clothes. Do you know how many holes I got in T-shirts because of badges? Anyone else done that? Yeah, exactly. Right? And it could be a T-shirt. It doesn't have to be a badge. All I'm saying is wear something, right? Advertise what you're doing. If you're an executive in Arkworld, you'd have received, hands up if you received a pack of buttons. Hey, David's got his hand. Katrina, yeah, you know, we give you, it's just a little thank you, right? Exactly, there he is. Has to show his badge, doesn't he, David? Look at that. I know. And by the way, if I call you on the phone, don't think that you can get away without wearing one, because we do the badge test. All right. And don't think you can tap something else. Doesn't make the same noise. Look. Okay. Badges make their own sound, right? So I can test you. It's free advertising. I will say on a serious note, remember this, and this is serious. You could be sitting next to someone on a train or in a coffee shop or at the gym or I don't know, somewhere that is on the brink of a heart attack, maybe has a serious health issue, maybe, you know, they just don't feel good, right? They've got no energy and they're looking for something, right? They're looking for some help. And they may never find out about it because you didn't put a button on, because you didn't talk to them. But if you put a badge on, they get to choose you. If you don't, you've just taken your shop sign off. See, your mobile shops, this is your sign. You put it on, you're open. You take it off, you're shut. Now, that's up to you. I'm not telling you to wear one, and I'm pretty sure there'll be many people that won't wear one. But if it was me, I would personally wear one because of free advertising. Plus, it's about helping others. Here's another point. Wouldn't you say today there's more urgency than ever in history? And the badges were not started by a company in 1980, by the way, who has something to do with herbs. They were worn in the 60s. In fact, there were sales companies using buttons in the 60s. Hippies wore badges. They've been going for, I don't know how long, but a long time, right? And now, more than ever in history, when you're sitting next to someone on the train, that person's probably got about 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everything else. So now there's more urgency to talk to the person sitting next to you than ever before. Wouldn't you say that? You're missing out on 2,000 people, not one, right? I'll leave it with you. It's not the person, remember, you're talking to. Always remember that. It's who they lead you to. It's never the person you're talking to, it's who they lead you to. Most important 4 words, I should say, I ever learned in multi-level marketing. Bless him, by a gentleman called Alan Lorenz. When I was a kid, I knew Alan real well. I spent a lot of time with him. We were down in South Africa. I hope his family don't mind me saying this, but I really loved the guy. And yeah, he taught me this, and I remember when I met him, he'd only just, he was only on like a couple of pounds or something a month. Imagine that. And he always used to say, who do you know? Who do you know? Be a detective. It's not the person you're talking to that's the issue. It's who they lead you to. They may not be for them, but they may have a brother in Australia who's about to become the #1 distributor in Arkworld, right? Never be closed-minded. It's not who you're talking to. If you went around Bournemouth or Brighton or wherever you guys live, Birmingham or whatever, and you went tomorrow, or say you live in Kansas and you walk around Kansas and you said, excuse me, do you mind me asking, do you know anyone in the UK, in the United Kingdom? Well, that's not a tough question, is it? I mean, you could be at work, you could be in the gym. You could even, I don't know, ask a friend. If you're in the UK, you could say, do you know anyone in America? Guess what they're going to say to you? Why? Aha! I'm glad you asked, right? You got videos on here. Let me tell you something I've just got involved in. Have you got 29 minutes? Do you want to hear from the president? I just got involved. I'm going to press this right here, and you watch it. And watch it with them. Watch a video with them. Or talk to David or me or someone at the company. Does that make sense to you? Pretty important. There's a second reason we wear buttons. Oh, it's an obvious one. It says you're proud to be an Arkworld distributor, right? It's advertising and saying, okay, I'm proud to be part of this. You're proud of it. It's your uniform. Push the button, right? Why wouldn't we use videos? We couldn't do this when I started as a kid. We have product videos, recruiting videos. As I said, check out ArkworldIntl on YouTube. The videos will do the work for you. Simple, it's duplicatable. It gets people like a testimonial, just the same as a testimonial in some ways, because it's another testimonial that's not coming from you, right? Often when we talk to people, it's one-dimensional. They get you. When you introduce it to someone else sees, you get another story, another perspective. Now you get a bigger picture. Another thing Alan used to teach people was this. Alan was the worst, least organized person I ever met in my entire life. He couldn't organize anything. But boy, what a distributor. And, he used to say, all I do is I bring them in and I throw them at the big picture. Show them the big picture. Guess what? You're carrying, this is an awful thing to say, but you're carrying me around with you. I'm only that tall, look. And you can put me in your pocket, right? So, you know what I mean? And you can say, here's Mark, right? Here's how the pink drink works. That's pretty easy. Does that make sense? Videos, they do the work for you. One thing David said recently, he has a system for doing it. I do too. But we both agreed on this. Fabulous point. Hold people accountable. Hold people accountable when they watch videos. Don't just say to someone, here, watch this video and I'll call you next week. They'll never watch it. The kids will do something, then there'll be the dog barking, and then their favorite movie will come on, right? And then you get distracted, and then you phone them back next week. David and me had a chat about it one night, about midnight. I was in the middle of a motorway, and David and I are talking. Do you remember that, David? And we were talking about holding people accountable. We were, and he has a great system. By the way, you want a best system, speak to David. He's a great system. You want to here's the point. You want to book a time for them to watch it and hold them accountable to that time. I know this sounds a little strict, but if you don't, people hardly watch things. Either watch it with them or book a time and then call them after. So if they're going to watch it at 9, you call them at 9:30. And if they're not going to watch it at 9, then you say, okay, when are you going to watch it? You book a time. It's like an interview. If you don't do that with videos, you're going to, here's what, I'm trying to protect you, because here's what happens. You call back next week and you say, hi, Sally, how did it go? And you go, Sally says, yeah, great. And then first thing she says is, oh, I forgot to watch the video. You get this so many times. You say, do you know what? I'm so sorry. I forgot all about it. I'll do it in the next few days. Great. You call back another few days later. She says, I still haven't got around to it, but I promise I had the housework to do. And I'm just going to do the ironing, and then I'll watch it. And then I'll watch it like, come on, you know what I mean. Have you experienced this with people? Videos and promote. Yeah. I'm saving you trouble. I promise you this is for you. It doesn't make a difference to me. I've learned these mistakes myself, and I don't want you to make them either, right? Hold people accountable. Book a time with them. If not, say, I'm sorry, well, David, I can't remember what David said, trip canceled, something like that. Look, if you're not going to sit and watch the video, you've got to talk to someone else. Hold people accountable, very important. David's got the best way of doing it. You can talk to David on this. Does that make sense to you? I'll tell you what I would be doing. If I had videos when I started Arkworld, do you know what I'd have done? I did 3 meetings a week. I had about 10 to 20 guests per meeting. I would get them in, sit them down, make them a pink drink. I'd say, how you doing? They'd say to me, Mark, what am I doing here? I'd say, I'm glad you asked me. We'll come to that in a moment. I'd sit them down. Once I sit them down, I would then connect my laptop. If you don't know how to do this, it's pretty easy. You can teach you. Put a cable into a television, and you can have your laptop on your television or your iPhone, whatever. There's a little cable does it. And I would have the meeting on the TV. I'd sit everyone down, and I'd play them the video like that. 10, 20 people on a Tuesday, 10, 20 people on a Thursday, and 10, 20 people on a Saturday. That's what I personally would be doing. David held meetings every day and had 10, 20 people per meeting and more. So there's no limit here, but it's so much easier. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, enough said. The only thing afterwards, after you watch the video, is to say, do you see an opportunity for yourself? That's all you got to ask. You in or out, right? You want to do this or not? And if they're not interested in the business, remember, we're not there to criticize. We're there to love. We're there to help. They may have a friend or a brother or a mom at home that has health issues. So if they're not interested in the business, what she says, listen, here's my details. If you know anyone with high blood pressure or heart disease or any of this stuff, we don't cure any of that, but we know stuff about the science that we can explain to you. We're not saying our products do it, but what we can do is often to help, offer to help them. Right? Does that make sense to you? Maybe they might want to have someone at home that needs to lose some weight and so on. Maybe like to burn some fat and that kind of thing. We can't make claims. Don't make claims, right? You're not allowed to make claims, but we can tell testimonials, can we? We can share our own results and so on. And that's the best way of doing it. Or never forget that. It's not always who you're speaking to, it's who they lead you to. Okay. Last part of this is teach others. Teach others to do the same. How are we doing? Okay, 1 hour. That's perfect. Teach others to do the same. If you're just using the products and talking to people, it's pretty easy to teach others. But you got to lead by example. And I'll give you a couple of points on this. Never tell people what to do. Remember I said I'm not telling you to wear a button? Don't tell people what to do. Tell them what you do. There's a difference between being a boss and a leader. Bosses tell you what to do. Leaders lead by example. There's a big difference. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. Leading by example. Don't expect people to use talk teach if you don't. Don't expect your group to wear the button, push the button, and watch videos if you're not using videos. If you want to, you don't have to use videos, by the way. There are other tools. It's just another great tool to use. Don't expect your group to do flyers. Where are my flyers? Here we go. I put some next to me. See these things? These are the cheapy version, right? You can find them in your back office as distributors, right? You literally download it. You can copy and paste actually into Word. David's got a nice flashy one. We'll get to the flashy ones. I know they're the Millionaire ones. These were cheaper ones, right? Because we said this one's a pink drink one. This one says, are you driven, motivated, and ambitious, right? I know someone does 10,000 of them at a time for about £6, by the way. Really good. You can get 40, 50,000. Should last David a week, right? Then you got what David was showing just a moment ago, which is the beautiful, yes, exactly, the glossy ones. Look at these beautiful pink drink one. It's so beautiful. I know Katrina's had some made. No flies on you, Katrina. I saw them, you know, and there you go. So Purple Pill, Magical Micro. We got all these wonderful tools. There's many tools. We're going to get to that in a second. Don't expect your group to use all this stuff if you're not. That's the point I'm making. Lead by example. Don't expect your group to create massive action if you're not doing that. Don't expect your group to attend meetings, Zoom meetings like this and trainings if you're not on. One word, leaders are the first to arrive and the last to leave. Now, I know not everyone wants to be a leader in a company. And by the way, forgive me, guys. I realize talking to you, I'm talking at this level, right? Arkworld is like a big pie. Right, and I'm talking at the 18 level, assuming everyone wants to get there. But if you don't, it doesn't matter. One thing about Arkworld, I'll tell you, whether you're selling one product or 1,000 products, and I promise you, from my heart to yours, and I hope this is sincere, I genuinely mean it. Whether you sell 1 or 1,000, everyone is equally important in the company, loved in the company, cherished in the company, appreciated in the company, and I thank God for you every single day. Arkworld is. Greatness is by the sum of its parts. You know what I mean? It's all of us together as a family and a team. Arkworld wouldn't be here. You know, it was never leaders that helped Arkworld get going, right? To be honest, we had a lot of people doing a little. You heard that expression? Lots doing a little? Yeah, you know, it's not about doing massive amounts. I'm just talking to you. It's easier for me to talk at this level because then you can take out whatever part you want. Does that make sense? Jules, that make sense to you? Exactly. Like the pink lamp, by the way. Don't expect your group to have a great attitude if you don't. Teaching skills. Lead by example is very, very important. Now, I'm going to give you 10 ground rules, and you start as a distributor. You ready? 10 rules. Then what we're going to do, I've just been talking just over an hour. Then we're going to spend about half an hour on retail. So if you need to get up, and just sort of shake your clothes. It's 110 degrees in here, so it can't be as hot as my office. Hang on, I think you got soda. Got that. 10 ground rules. Yes, exactly. This is a training class, okay? So very important. If you've got questions, by the way, you want to stay behind after, that's cool. Number 1, write a center of influence. For everyone you know, a health list and how can I put this politely? Someone that's a little larger than they want to be list. Well, I was going to say fat list, but that's insulting, isn't it? I mean, you can't say that, can you, in this day and age? I mean, yes, exactly, right? I'm going to be, everyone to leave if I said that. You know what I mean? People don't want to lose weight, and it's people that want to get healthy, right? Write a center of influence list. Also, write a center of influence list of people that you think might could do with a business or some more money. Since the recession and COVID, I tell you one thing, whether you're UK or America, this is probably the greatest recruiting bonanza of a time in our history in terms of a multi-level marketing business. You've never been in this position before. There are more people out of work and have lost businesses and jobs than ever before and could do with more money working from home, wouldn't you say? So center of influence. Number 2, place an order, get some stock. This is what you really want to be doing with your new distributors. Place an order and get some stock. Remember, only sell what you use, and you can only sell what you got. I mean, what in the world are you going to give someone if you haven't got anything? Right? Now, I know what you're going to say. You can order it online. Yeah, I know. But if you're down the beach or you're in a, I don't know, a coffee shop, and so, or I don't know, at the gym or somewhere, and someone says, oh, I'll give the pink drink a go. Wouldn't it be great if you have one in the car? I tell you, when I started Arkworld, I went everywhere I went, I carried this everywhere. And if you go to a coffee shop and you open the lid and you bang it down, pink smoke powder goes everywhere. Right? Try it. Go into a shop tomorrow and go like that, bang, and with the lid off, by the way. It's unbelievable. And you get told off by everybody and they all want to know what it is. You say, ha-ha, right? You got the video, right? You can tell them about it. Say, listen, I'm glad you asked. I just got involved in something. It's pretty exciting. It's called the pink drink. And tell them, or don't. That's up to you. Or get their phone number. David will talk to them. Right? You know what I mean? Be genuine, okay? Not crazy. Of course, you'd probably look like a maniac if you went into a store and did that. I'm messing around with you, but you get my point, okay? That's what I did. You only sell what you got. Choose where you want to start. This is still number 2, by the way. Place an order, get some stock, and choose where you want to start. When you speak to your distributors, do you want to earn 20%, 25, 30, 35, or 40? Do you want to work as a distributor or do you want to work as an executive? Because let's get that order placed right now. When I started Arkworld, Dave and I was talking about how I built my distributorship. I hardly had anybody join that didn't buy product. You know why? I wouldn't let them. I don't want you joining this if it's just about selling. I want you to enjoy the product, right? I recruited 30. My goal was 30 a month, 1 a day. And out of that 30, I got a high percentage of them to executive. Because I, this is a business. Arkworld, as far as an investment, cost me $400,000 of money, and I was broke. I didn't have any money, right? This isn't $400,000, is it? No, I mean, it's a couple of products, Hands up, I've been in any multi-level marketing company where you had to have a big garage or garage, right, to fill it with stock to get the highest discount. Yeah, quite a lot of hands. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? This isn't one of those deals. You've got to get something. Choose where you want to start and put your order in. Start using the products. Get your own stories. It's all part of number 2. When you place your order, don't forget, order a pack of buttons, badges, for only £4.95. Or get to executive straight away and we'll give you a free pack of assorted ones. Number 3. Now, I could spend a whole day training class on number 3. By the way, is this worth it? You get guys getting a lot out of this kind of thing? Yeah? Okay. I mean, you've got to understand, Katrina laughed last week. I saw you, Katrina, when I said, look, I've spent days, weeks, months in hotel rooms, with the door locked, and we couldn't escape. I've sat in training classes for days with Jim Rowan, days, you know what I mean, where you couldn't feel, you lost feeling in your legs, you know what I mean, because you were, I know an extreme example, but, I've seen people like this after 4 days because they thought the trainings went on so long, right? To give up an hour or 2 or a couple of hours on Zoom for your financial future, wouldn't you say it's worth it if it means that much to you? You know what I mean? It is. So what you value, always about what you value. This next subject, I could do a whole weekend's training on. Just this one subject alone. Number 3 of the ground rules is work out how many hours you're going to work. Part-time, full-time. We're putting a plan together, right? We're going to work. We're going to talk about retailing. This is just so you let you know, we're going to do recruiting next week and retailing tonight. So we're going to finish the ground rules, and then I'm going to talk retailing with you and how to sell. Okay? You can see now why I wanted to divide it up into 2 parts, because I wanted to give you some little extra goodies, okay, to help you get started in the company. Work out what hours you're going to work, part-time, full-time. You need a structure, write it down. Plan the business. If you're going to do this as a business, if you're not serious about the business, you don't need this training class, by the way. If you're not serious about doing this as a business, that's okay. You know, I'm not putting anyone down with it. I'm just saying you don't really need this training. You know, you need this training if you're going to take this seriously. Why did I spend a whole weekend teaching this, or at least one day, this one subject? Because it's a subject called Employ Yourself. David would probably love me at some point, and we will do in the future. We're not going to do that tonight. This is basic training to go through the story of Employ Yourself that was shared with me and him and many of us once. And it is a fantastic story, and it is so true about our own lives. You know, here's the tendency. I'll just give you a brief glimpse. And the glimpse is this. The tendency is when we get into business for ourselves is to become slack. Wouldn't you say that's true? Yeah. Let's say I'll do a few hours a week. Excuse me. I'll do a few hours a week. Okay, when are you going to start? When are you going to finish? Well, I'm going to work full time, Mark. Okay, what time are you going to start? When are you going to finish? You see, here's the point. When you work for another company or a job, and some people like my dad worked for 40 years in a job he hated. Why would you do something for 40 years you didn't even like, right? I felt sorry for him. It was tragic when I saw him when he got, you know, he had 7 years after he retired before he got, 5 years after he retired before he got cancer, right? That's it. He worked for 40 years. They gave him a gold clock. He got cancer. This is, you know, if you didn't know already, this is one of the reasons I started Arkworld in the beginning, along with the Nobel Prize in medicine that I came across. There he was, 5 years, and he got a gold clock. I'll never forget the first Christmas after he'd gone. And it's a bit morbid, right? But, you know, this is why I started Arkworld. You know, I visited my mom. I stayed with my mom because she was on her own and so on. And his slippers were kind of by the fire, right? It was really heartbreaking. And the gold clock was on the mantelpiece, still ticking. You know, they give him a clock that's still ticking. My dad isn't. Right? After 40 years service, right? Back then in those days, you know, he started work at 15, I think it was. Imagine that, 15 years of age. Probably swallowing all this diesel as a mechanic from buses, right? Probably didn't help him. And then the gold clock outlasts him. And he didn't even enjoy it. But you got to admire him. He did it for the mortgage and to look after me and mum, right? So, you know, it happens all the time. And guess what? He had to be there on time. And he couldn't leave early, and he left on time. 5, 6 days a week, and sometimes he did overtime where he was doing 16-hour days. And when I was a kid, he worked £9 a week. Unbelievable. Yeah. And he hated it. And he loved coming home. You know, loved it. And he'd fall asleep and get up and do it all over again. Does anyone relate? You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people do this. I did jobs I hated as a kid. I thought, how do you do this? You got to admire it. But he had to show up on time, and he left on time. He couldn't say, it's okay, I think I'll have tomorrow off. My friends come by, I think I'll take some time off. You can see why I said I could spend a whole day on this alone. This is a massive subject we're not going to go through tonight. You've got to employ yourself. If you're going to do this part-time, what hours you're going to start? Put a start and a finish. Get disciplined. Because the tendency is this. When you work for yourself, the tendency is to say, that's okay. It doesn't matter. I'll make up for it later. Right? It's okay. We don't be that serious, do we? We're in Arkworld, we're drinking a paint drink. What do we have to be that serious for? Let me tell you, you got to be that serious. Right? If I could go back and knew what I knew now, back then, I would have helped my dad in ways that I didn't know back then with this product. And maybe he would have still been alive today. You got to take this seriously. If you want to be successful, you take it seriously. Because if you treat it as a hobby and you do it in what hours you like, guess what you're going to end up with? A hobby check. You take it seriously, you end up with a serious check. Right? I know that sounds hard, but you've got to be hard with it. If you had a job, you'd have to be there and you'd have to show up on time. Because if you kept being slack too long, guess what they do? Fire you. I was fired once because they wanted me to work New Year's Day. I was at 19, 18. I was got in the most, and I had a job. They wanted me to work New Year's Day. I thought, I don't want to work New Year's Day. I thought, I'll take that off. I went in the next day. She said, you're fired. I said, why? She says, you didn't come in yesterday. I thought it was New Year's Day. I wanted to sing turkey and, right? You can't do that in a job, right? You get my point. Employ yourself, right? Daily method of operation. You're going to need a structure, a system. And we're going to spend a lot more on this in executive workshops and leadership training. You're going to need something. If you're making notes, I haven't got a whiteboard here, so I'll just show you with my hands in the air. When I started, David said, what did you do, Mark? You know, one of the things I did. Here's one of the things I did when I started to sell and recruit. I had a whiteboard, and on the whiteboard I wrote letter B, right, for business. And I did a little line down and a line across, and over here I wrote letter P for product, right? Some of you smile, some of you know this already. And what I did was I talked to 10 people a day about the product and 10 people a day about the business. Sometimes I did a lot more, 20, 30, but I had to do a minimum of 10. And at the end of that week, I had to have done 50 people on the product and 50 people on the business. If I got to Saturday, end of Friday, and it was only 43 and 47, right? Oh dear. Saturday was my makeup day. That didn't mean that I put on high heels and lipstick. Right? That was Friday night. No, I'm just kidding. That wasn't Friday night. We'll edit that out, the video, don't worry. Saturday was the day when I made up the numbers for the week. Okay? All right, so whatever I didn't do, Saturday was the day I do the training and I got that done. What actually happened was I spoke to a lot more than that. It was massive, all-out attack. If you're going to go fast. It's so much easier. When you go slowly, you know, this is too hard. I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if Davey's going to appreciate me telling you this. If you're going to do artwork for a living, you're doing entirely too much work. This is too difficult to do as a living. It's easy to do to make a fortune. Do you know it's much easier making a fortune than it is earning a living? You think it was easy for my dad for 40 years to do something he hated and made a living? You think that was easy? No, of course not. It's really difficult. If you do a few things consistently every single day here, I'm telling you, 90 days, you won't believe what takes place. You won't. 6 months, next time, next year. There's not one person on here. If you got to have health first, right? We got to help each other. I know some of you have some health issues. And believe me, I care. This tonight was about the business. That's why we're not talking too much about the product. So I appreciate you got to have the health to do it. We want to help you to do that, right? We care about you. You know, it's the same for all of us. Health before wealth, as they say. And this is by the grace of God. There's more to this than just building a business and making money. That's not what this is about for me at all. I'm here tonight to do a job. Let me just sort of hit someone here. And that job is to teach you how to do the business. Right? But it isn't about that for me, just going out and making money and building a check. That's not what it's about. By the grace of God, I believe this will help millions around the world. And it'll be for his glory and not ours. And praise him for that, because without him, Arkworld wouldn't be here. Whether you believe him or not, that's up to you. But I do. I choose him because he chose me. And Arkworld would not be here without him. And I promise you, and it overwhelms me when I think of it, because we have something in our hands here. I don't think we value it enough in terms of what we have. We have the greatest product that's ever been, the industry's ever been blessed with, and we've been blessed with it. Nothing does what these products do, especially the pink drink and chip shake and the purple pill. I mean, that's a new discovery on itself. We're not here to talk about that tonight, but understand what you got in your hands. We have a marketing plan that pays out more than any business ever has, and probably ever will, unless they're going to change their marketing plan. You know, when you're earning, some people are earning $10,000 a month in another company, you'll be earning $50,000 here with the same business. I promise you, you know, we need to value it. God first, value what we've been blessed with. You need a structure every day. I'll move on. It's a big subject. You've got to employ yourself, a repetitive system. B&P, business and product, daily numbers. And we can get into that more. We're going to get that in executive workshops. Systems, I'll give you a formula. Systems create behavior. Behavior create habits. And habits equal production or income. You got to have a system. It's your system that propels you forward, if I can say that, propels you forward, not you. Never you. It's the system you have. You're not moving ahead with ease, it's because your system isn't working. You need to change your system. We need to get you a system. If you're new here to the company, we can help you do that. Myself, David, Jules, any of us, and so on will help. So that's number 3. I told you, you could do a day on it, right? It's really important. Number 4, follow Arkworld on socials and YouTube. So I'll just recap. Number 1 was center influence. Number 2, place an order, get some stock. What discount do you want to work from? Number 3 was how many hours you're going to work. Employ yourself. When you're going to start, 9 o'clock Monday, right? Discipline. Number 4 is follow Arkworld on socials and YouTube. Watch the Arkworld product training, the business training. There's already a 2.5-hour epic, and I mean epic product training in the Arkworld YouTube channel. It's unbelievable. And it has a good 10 minutes on each product on it. The beautiful thing is you can watch part of it, go away and watch another part of it. There's already a 6-part of a 7-part business training on YouTube. Next one. That was number, what was that, 4? Number 5, attend meetings, trainings. Try hosting your own. You can use a video to help you. Use the Arkworld product videos and recruiting video to do so. Meetings and trainings are very important. You know, again, work with us. You're not alone. We can do it with you. If you get 2 or 3 friends together, how about getting 7 people on WhatsApp or 5 people on WhatsApp saying, hey, you know, call the company. Say, do you think I can get Mark to call in? I'll call into 5 people. David will do it. Love it. If we try and stop him, right? Jules to help. Other people to help. We're in this together. That was 5. Number 6, get a diary, appointments book. That may be your phone. That could be a laptop. It could be an iPad. Could be the old-fashioned way with a pen and paper. It doesn't really matter. Get organized. Get an appointments book. Start to see people by appointment. I know that sounds a bit rude, right? I get how that sounds. You know, not if it's your friend or something. I don't mean it like that. But you've got to get some discipline, or otherwise your time will be eaten up. Manage time management. It's one of the things we do the worst, wouldn't you say? Okay. Get some flyers made, right? We can get some of these made for you, glossy ones. We're going to have a version of these come out next year, in case you don't know this, so just for your interest. A version of these next year where you'll be able to buy them in packs of 10 and 100 and 1,000 and so on, where you'll be able to put your own phone number on them. Okay, so you're going to have a version of these come out for you. Oh, you have, yeah, exactly. There's going to be many things. Don't forget Arkworld apps coming. You'll be able to join the AA. So if you have a financial breakdown, right? You have a health breakdown. I know it's corny. Come on, go with me, right? You can join the AA, the Arkworld app. You'll be able to go on your phone. Retail recruit. It's going to be unbelievable. You want to see how, you know, videos are done. Maybe you should check out Joanna's. Yes, Joanna, there you are. Hello. You know, her superstar videos she keeps doing. By the way, I'm not going to. It's kind of the cheeky person I am a lot of the time, but I don't always sound sincere. Have you noticed that? I really am trying, because I am sincere. I generally sincerely mean this. She's awesome at videos, this Joanna here. I'm telling you, fantastic. And she looks like, I was tipped to Jules the other day. She could be on the front of a magazine. She's like one of these, do you know what I mean? These kind of, they hire them in, don't they? To bring a studio, they go, try my product, right? Joanna, I tell you, that's me high-fiving, okay? Exactly, back at you. Awesome, right? Unbelievable. I was really impressed. I generally mean that. I was so impressed with it. She's done a load of them, I think at least a couple of them. Where were we? Get some flyers made. Get these. You can get 6,000, was it? No, 10,000 for, what was it? Yeah, £6 1,000 I got these. You can get 40, 50, they're cheap, you know? I would be using these glossy ones, by the way. I'd be putting them in my pocket as business cards. I don't have a business card. People think that's crazy when you run a company. I do have a business card. It's what I do in my inside pockets. I say, here's my business card, right? Why do I want a business card with ego, right, and vanity, just to show how wonderful I am as the president of the company that says president and founder? And I can give you my card when I can show you the pink drink, right? Get over ourselves, right? Promote. So you can get some flyers, mate. Let's get a diary, get appointments book, get flyers, you know, get a testimonials book. I don't know, get an exercise book for your contacts and so on and passwords. Here's number 7. Get a desk. Get a, I don't know, somewhere to work from, your dining room. Joanna already looks like she's set up her whole Arkworld superstore there where she's sitting at her desk. Exactly. Because she's a serious distributor, right? We're serious about it. Number 8, set some goals. My goodness, little time fly when you're doing it. Set some goals, personal, business. Have a 90-day plan. It's always good. And by the way, we don't have time to go through this tonight, but you've got to set some goals with it. A 90-day plan, you know, a method of operation. Plan your work. What do you want to get out at the end of this year? Where do you want to be in January? Health and wealth. Where would your income? Look at the marketing plan in Arkworld. Choose where you'd like to be in the marketing plan. So I said to David, what team do you want to be at by the end of it? You know what I mean? Be the same for me, same for any of us. And then we can put a plan together. It's really hard to put anything together if you don't know where you want to be. Number 9, keep it fun, simple, and duplicatable. Fun, simple, and magical, David, just for you. Fun, simple, and magical. Do the basics, right? Have fun with this. Duplicatable, tell stories. Here's formula for you. Facts tell, stories sell. You've all heard that, I'm pretty sure. And number 10, be excited. Have a good attitude, no matter what. When you talk to people, have a great positive attitude. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need the $10,000 a month attitude before you get the check. That makes sense? $10,000 a month or pound. We're in England, aren't we? Apart from Monaco. Okay, 10,000 pounds a month check before you get the check. Attitude, sorry, before you get the check. Real easy. Someone says, oh, it's really easy to have a good attitude when you got a big check, right? Yeah, well, it doesn't work that way. You're going to have an attitude when you're broke. When I started Arkworld, I didn't have any money. I was 400,000 in debt. You kidding? I was above a pizza parlor. I had a glued on label, a pink powder with my accent in Brighton. That's difficult, right? Let me tell you, and I'm not saying this to be full of myself and beat myself on the chest, but you have no idea the adversity and price I paid for this. Yeah, honestly, over the years, it was not easy, but boy, was it worth it. Have a good attitude, right? It's important. We keep saying it through the night. It's the theme of the night, not what you say, right? It's how you feel about what you say. Why? People don't communicate with words, they communicate with feelings. It's never words, it's feelings. I don't have time to share my horse story with you, really. I'll just tell you this. Anyone frightened of horses? Anyone have horses? Anybody like horses? Anybody awake? I'm just kidding with you. Well, there was horses across where I lived when I was a kid, and I used to go hand feed them, and one tried to bite me, and that was probably put a little bit of fear in me, right? And so I went. A long story short, I'll tell you it quickly. I used to sunbathe in a field across the road from where my mum and dad lived as a kid, and I used to go over in this field, and there's no one around, right? So, and it was lovely, and it was nice field, no one, miles, there was no one around. 80, 90 degrees, in old money, right? Beautiful day, stunning weather, and did some sunbathing. And I was only 16, 17. I was, it was innocent to me, so I didn't want any, white lines, right? I'm sorry, but it's after 9 o'clock. Come on, Oh, Katrina, get over yourself. It was there. So, you know, took everything off, right? So there I am. Beautiful sun. I know, too much information. We'll go past it. We'll go past it. Don't worry. We'll edit that bit out. So there I am, sunbathing, right? Like that, enjoying the summer, getting a beautiful all over tan. Well, I was only 17. Give me a break. I was a teenager. And I'm lying there, and I hear behind me this, right, sound. I thought, what in the world's that? And I look, and I didn't realize that the spot I'd chosen was by a water trough. How stupid am I? I wonder what there was a big pond of water doing in some bucket thing, right? The water trough. And there's this horse. Now, I had a fear of horses there. I don't now, but I did then. And this enormous horse, enormous, I'm not kidding, you know, those big horses, right? Huge, was standing there, and he was drinking, and then he came over to me, and I looked like he was huge, and I'm patting him, but I'm patting him sort of in a way of like, please don't kill me kind of thing, you know? Right? And he starts sniffing in my bag because I had an apple and some sandwiches in it. So he starts getting, I thought, I better feed him. So I give him the apple, gone. Sandwiches, gone in seconds. And it was like it was yesterday. Boy, it's time flying. And so I'm stroking him, and then he starts doing this with his legs. You know, like when a bull's about to attack you, and a bull starts doing this with one of its legs on the floor. And I thought I'd watched too many movies because I thought he's going to charge me. So I start backing up like that. And he starts moving toward me like that. So I start getting a bit quicker, like this. And he decides to start trotting like that, right? So I start moving a little fast, and I'm breaking out into a run. Now, you've got to remember, I had no clothes on, right? So I know, Jules is saying, Mark, would you please shut up? Look, there is a point to this story. So I get to the point, I'm at full sprint across this field, and this horse is now racing after me. I don't know why, but I'm terrified. And I thought there's only one way I'm going to live. And that is if I jump the fence to the next field, right? Because the horse won't do that, I thought. But the fence was barbed. Now, the fence was barbed. Yes, I know. I'm sorry, Katrina. It was, let me have a pink drink. I can't believe I'm saying this on video. The fence was barbed wire. No, it's not the ending you thought. I do not get stuck, right? I made it across to the other side. And there I am in the field. But here's the thing. The horse comes to the fence and he wouldn't leave. I'm standing there for half an hour, and he's just looking at me. And then a woman comes along walking her dog. And I'm standing there exactly. I mean, that was, now, it was a bad day, right? We move on. But here's the point. Why do you think the horse got all jumpy and scared and started chasing me and started getting funny with me? I was scared of him, right? Feelings. Horse can tell. An animal has an incredible way of telling that you are scared of it. It feels uneasy, uncomfortable, and so it starts to get a bit, it reacts differently than it normally would. People are exactly the same. I know people said I've spoke to everyone in my entire town and nobody wants to join. You ever had that? Yeah. I can't get anybody to buy this product, Mark. I've spoke to everyone in the world, right? Not true, for a start. It's because they're communicating with feelings, the wrong feeling. You've got to get your attitude straight, excited. And this is number 10. Again, another day's training on number 10 you could do. Attitude is so important. My sponsor once taught me as a kid, if you're having a bad day, put your answer phone on. But make sure your answer phone message is excited, because that never changes, right? You've got to get your attitude straight. People don't communicate with words, they communicate with feelings. Make sense? Okay, love horses now. Love them. Okay, let's talk. Okay, we're going to do this. I think we can handle it. Everybody do this for me. All right, there we go. If you're at home now, I want you to do what? Thank you. Right? Now, everybody stand up. Come on. Go with me. Do this with me. Stand up. Come on. We're on video. I can't stand up. Everybody stand up. If you can't stand up, that's okay. You can pretend to stand. Exactly. We're all standing up. That's kind of wave your hands in the air like this. right? David does this. This is most David's evenings. He usually does this. Everybody sit down. Take your position. Now we'll do retailing. Isn't that fun? I just realized on YouTube, everyone's going to think we're completely crazy, but hey, that's a live meeting, right? Let's talk about retailing. Put a big in your notes, selling the products, retailing, and then we're going to finish with this, okay? I know it's a long time and it's warm tonight. I do think we should do this every Thursday, though, because every time we do this on a Thursday, the weather's awesome, isn't it? I had a look. Next Thursday's going to be awesome, too. This is our last one together. So get some new people on it, right? Recruit a few between now and next Thursday and get them on it because we're going to be talking recruiting next week. We're going to get straight into it, okay? Let's talk about retailing. Write this down, the power of retail. Retail is the key to your business. R plus R equals R. In other words, retailing plus recruiting equals royalty. You guys enjoying this? You with me on this? Okay. Aim for, now, I know what you're thinking. This is a lot, but let me explain this. I'm going to tell you to aim for a 50 customer base. That doesn't mean in 1 month. It doesn't mean that you'll ever do 50 customers. Some of you won't, some of you will. Some of you might not want to, but there's a point to this. So write it down. Aim for a 50 customer base. Now, I'm going to base this example on all of you now being executive at 40%. And I want to open your eyes to something here about retailing. Because if there's a lot of misconceptions about selling products. You'll never make a fortune selling a product. You won't. You need to recruit. You need to recruit a lot. I'm sorry, but you do. Recruiting 3 or 4 people a year isn't going to make you a fortune. You can make a living that way and a good check. In fact, everyone on here can make a couple of thousand a month by recruiting a few people. It can happen. It's been done, and we've got a lot doing it. It's not always about big businesses, right? You could get a few friends involved and build a great business that provides a great income. We have people doing that. I got homemakers or housewives right now that are earning that have earned royalties of $2,500, $3,000 a month just by really signing up 20, 30 distributors. Pretty cool, huh? Not like the ones some of you have been involved before. That's a lot, all right? I want to open your eyes to retail, how important it is. See, when I started out, well, David said, what did you do? You know, when I started, I didn't just recruit. I used to get people hooked into the product straight away. You were not going to join my business that I put 3 years of my life into and a product that's taken 1.5 years to develop on the back of Nobel Prize winning science if you're going to join this company and not at least get on this product. Why? Let me tell you something now. Your time is way too valuable for that. Too valuable. You think too less of yourself if you're going to get people involved for nothing. You recruit 30 a month, 10 a month, 20 a month, by all means. You want to mass recruit, but you want people using the product and retailing the product. We are mobile shops. Everyone I had. Look at it this way. I recruited 31 people, but look at my group volume, $46,000. You know why? Because 29 of them went to executive and they were all using it. I had a 21-year-old, last week I mentioned her, she had one of the worst pitches you've ever heard. She was so excited that everything was pink. She loved pink. Do you know, I saw that go in 2 hours, phoned her dad and said, I've got a promotion, I've got a qualification. She said, they're going to take us to dinner in the country. She said, and I've got to qualify for it. She said, I need your help. I need 17 customers and I need them this afternoon. So she said, get out your center of influence list. And her dad said, I'm not doing that. She says, yes, you are. She said, get me everyone you know. And she convinced him to get all of his contacts out. None of them weren't even people she knew. And she was on the phone for 2 hours and got 17 customers. That's a true story. In 2 hours. True story. Her first royalty was just under £600. That's a true story. 21. Didn't have a clue what she was doing. She said, in the land of the one-eyed man, the blind are king. Right? And if you know that expression, that is not how it goes. Right? And she got 17 customers. Now, if you're at 40%, let's say for this example, you sell £100 worth of products, pounds, especially for you, Jules. How's that? £100, right? You get 40%, that's £40 you make, isn't it? Yes, £40, right? 50 customers, that would give you £2,000 a month or £24,000 a year. Now, I know what you're thinking. We're not going to get 50 customers, £100 a sale. I'm not suggesting you're all going to do this, but I want to open your mind to something here. Go with me. This is very important to understand the value of retail, how it can affect your business. And even if you only had 10 customers, what it'll do for you. £100 sale, and you got 50 of them. So the turnover would be £5,000. If you write it down, £100 sale, 50 customers, that's 5,000 turnover, and you're getting 40%. So your income will be 2,000 a month or 24,000 a year. Does that make sense? Watch the video if you didn't get it. 2,000 a month you would earn, you turn over 5,000. If you think 50 customers is a lot, I'll put it into perspective. That's one customer per state in the United States of America. That's terrible, Rita. Imagine if you had a chain of shops in America and you phoned up your Texas branch and you said, hi there, guys. You said, listen, how many customers you got this month? 1,000, 2,000? They said, 1. Right? One, you wouldn't pay your bills. 1, that doesn't pay me the phone bill of calling you. 1, right? That's all it is. 1 estate. Imagine if you had 10 distributors, right, doing the same. You got 50 customers, just 10. Go with me on this. 10 people, that's all, in your whole career with just literally with 50 customers. Do you know what you'd be on? Instead of 5,000 turnover, you'd be on 50,000 turnover a month. Your income alone will be over 10,000 a month in Arkworld, at least, plus bonuses and millionaire club status and $250,000 a year you'd make with 10 people with 50 customers. 10 people with 50 customers, you'd earn over 10,000 a month plus bonuses. You'd be on about $250,000 a year with 10 people in your business. Is that pretty impressive? See how powerful retail is? You guys don't think, you think retail is just selling someone a product. What you don't, and I'm not picking on you, by the way, this is a general misconception. What you're not understanding is you're building a company. You are the president of your company. And right now, today, DB Enterprises or Katrina, you know, whatever you want to call you, you know what I mean, right? This is your company. How exciting. We get to be companies within a company, you know? Join Joanna. It's her business. It's her company. It's exciting. You get to be the president of it. Now think of yourself as retail outlets. All you got is 10 retail outlets with 50 customers, and you're on $250,000 a year. Okay, I'm going to make this. Let's say you worked for 5 years in Arkworld. 5 years, and all you did was get 100 distributors that have a customer base, a serious 50 customer base. And you probably think that's a lot. It actually isn't. You might get 10, 20 1 month, then you'll get a few repeat orders. Then you might get 5 or, do you know, I see a big mistake. I see people looking all week, all month for one customer. They get one customer and they forget to ask that person who knows 100 people, by the way, for referrals. You know, Mary, you've lost 10 pounds. You know, listen, how would you like to get the next product at a discount price? Give me 5 referrals. Give me, every time you give me a referral, I'll give you 10 pounds off your next sale, the next time you buy the product. All right, give me 5, I'll give you a whole product for free. Whatever you want to do, you know, you can do your own promotions. You know, inspire business. 50 customers is nothing. It's nothing. I promise you. I did that, and other people did it. Imagine 100 people in 5 years. You got 100 people with 50 customers. Here's what happens: you'd be on $500,000 turnover a month. That's 500,000 a month. Your income monthly would be over 6 figures. You'll be on several million with bonuses at 18 level. You'd be on several million pounds a year income, and you'd earn to infinity of your entire organization. And we are a company that pays up to 30% in royalties. Yes, you heard it right, 30% royalties. And we're going to procrastinate and tell them and work out plans to start in January. We start today, right? We go to work. We want to plan tomorrow. I'm sure David's going to be following up because he holds people accountable. He's going to say, what time are you going to work? What hours are you going to work? Part-time, full-time, right? Let's set those hours. I wouldn't even be surprised if David goes out and buys one of those clocks you have to punch in. Right? But if we did, wouldn't that be awesome? Imagine how disciplined you'd have to be if when you started your Arkworld business, you had to punch a clock and the company knew when you started work. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't that? That would be interesting. Right? They haven't been to work at all. I took the whole day off because RGG visited, made a cake. You know what I mean? We need to get serious with this. Now, hopefully that opens your eyes up to retail, right? R plus R equals R. Oh, what a powerful. I made some additional notes here I want to share with you because just a couple of things. If I was going to give you the winning lottery ticket, let me have a bit of my pink drink. We're doing okay, not much longer. If I was going to give you the winning lottery ticket, right? Winning lottery ticket, the end of the month. This is true. Say the lottery was 53 million. Okay. Look, that happens, right? You get prizes like that. 53 million. I'm going to give you a ticket for 53 million at the end of the month. There's one thing I want you to do. You know what it is? Get 10 customers. Okay. Get 10 customers. If I said to you, I'll give you 53 million at the end of the month if you get 10 customers, how many of you would do it? Be honest with me. If I was going to give you 53 million and you'd never need to work again. I mean, I'd do it if you were going to pay me 53 million. I'll get 10 customers, right? Of course you would. Of course you would. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think most people would, okay? You might, if you don't want the money, give it to your church. You could help a lot of people with 53 million. But there's a lot of people who need helping, don't they? Exactly. Okay. See, it creates urgency. It gives you the got to, right? It gives you a deadline, always gives you the got to. Does that make sense? Okay. We're going to talk in a minute about pink parties. There's a few things you want to talk about with retailing, and I want you to make a note of this. We're going to talk about a system called who, what, when, where. Write it down. Who, what, when, where. And this is the last thing we're going to do tonight, and then I'm going to close it. And next week, we're going to get into retailing. Sorry, we're not. Let me start again. Change my tongue. We're going to get into recruiting next week, how to build an organization, how to build a check. Next week, we're going to get into promotion, duplication, and goals. And that will be the second part of this training. This is a special one, specifically for you, put together. And I think it's important. A couple of more thoughts before we get into this. 10 people buying one pink drink. It's a good one. If you've got 10 distributors and all they're buying is one pink drink, you're not going to make much money. Monica's joining us. I think she dropped out. 10 people with one pink drink, your check's going to be pretty small, right? Now, if you got 10 people with 10 customers, now you earn 1,000. You see the difference with retail? Does that make sense to you? Okay. Do you want to know one of the reasons Arkworld survived when nobody gave it any chance? Do you know why? Arkworld, one of the reasons we survived in the beginning, thanks to the grace of God. Do you want to know why? Because we were blessed with a product that changed lives. And we had distributors joining, and they weren't just recruiting and building an organization, I'll be honest with you, and throwing people at the wall and seeing if they stick. And no, they don't. Without help and support, guess where they go? Slide down onto the floor. They didn't. They joined for the product, and they joined for the right reason. They were organized. They were into it. They had a customer base. We have people today with 20, 30 customers. They're buying in bulk all the time. because they have a customers they build up over the years. Jules, you know that, right? Am I right? Absolutely. Okay. 4-step success training system. We're finishing on this. A 4-step success training system. And if you want to stay behind, if you're watching this on YouTube, by the way, and you want to speak to us at the company, we can do that. If you're watching this live now, if you want to stay behind, we're going to take questions. We're going to relax, have a pink drink. We're going to congratulate David for his first check. Okay, so we'll finish on this. Thanks for your patience. I know it's a warm night. 4-step success training system. Who, what, when, where. What does that stand for? Now, this is how I build Arkworld. You want to know how I train people on Saturdays? I suggest you do the same. Get my notes and do the same. This is how you teach people to retail and how you teach people to recruit. Who? What does it stand for? It stands for who to look for. Number one, who to look for. Who, what, when, where. Now, when you've been doing this as long as I have, right? Who, what, when, where, and you start to get a bit of a check and get on the leadership teams, you can do this. Who, what, when, where. That's how you say who, what, when, where. That's quick, right? When you start Arkworld, it's kind of who, what, when, where. You know what I'm saying? It gets into your head. Who, what, when, where. Who. The kinds of people we look for, nothing new to you. We all know this, of course, and there's a reason I mention it, because of COVID and what's happened in the last few years. Dissatisfied people. We look for dissatisfied people who want better health. You've got to do your thinking here in your lives when you're out and about. People that want better health, work out, go to the gym. Where are we going to find them? Lose weight. They want to feel great, feel better in your town. Okay. Who could benefit from the products? Try writing a list of people, and not just the people you know either, your doctor, your dentist, people at the gym, names of gyms, names of clinics. Maybe it's a cardiovascular clinic, maybe someone who works there, an osteopath, you know, I don't know, someone who works with bones. We got the purple pill, you know, you start doing your thinking, right? Gyms. Arkworld was voted in America, arguably, right? Voted in Science Daily, a magazine, the best pre-workout product in America. Maybe we should be going to see some gyms, people work out with someone. Maybe we should be thinking, who do we know in America? Right? Right? I don't know. You know, start thinking about it. Dissatisfied people, write a list of everybody. Anybody you've ever come in contact, get your Christmas card list out. Right? David, I'll tell you one thing David does. Do you want really well? Probably better than I've never seen anyone do it. Very few people do it as well as him. Do you know what he does? He collects friends. He's really good at it. I said to him, how long have you known this? I won't embarrass the people. You know, he'd say to me, I've known this person 10 years. I've known this person 20 years. I said, well, unbelievable. He doesn't just collect friends. You never get rid of him. Right? He's your friend for life, this guy. Right? David knows I'm messing with him. I love him to pieces. You know, but you know what I mean. He's awesome at it, though. He collects friends and he keeps building them up. Hundreds and hundreds. You know, I used to teach people, write this down, to make 10 new friends a day, collect 10 new mobile numbers a day. That's how I taught people when I started Arkworld. Didn't always succeed, but collect. Make friends with people. Doesn't matter if you sell them anything. Forget about that. In fact, don't tell them about Arkworld day one. Just all you want is their friendship. 10 and 10 a day, 50 a week, 200 a month. In 3 months, in a quarter, that's 600 people. I figured out of 600 friends, I'm going to at least recruit 100 of them. Right? That was my philosophy, right? The point of it is collect friends. Center of influence, write a list. That makes sense? Poor David. I was just messing with you, buddy. 2, what? So that's who to look for. Dissatisfied. Number 2, who, what. Number 2 stands for what to say. Okay, this I get asked more than anything else in my whole career. I've had it all my life. Mark, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say? Right? Don't complicate this business. It's not complicated. It's simple. We've talked about it. Tell stories. Never try to give too much detail. Your pitch will become too hard. You want to have an airplane pitch, an elevator pitch, a pit, you know, a park pitch on a park bench, a meeting pitch, a hotel pitch, an office pitch, you know, but it's basically the same thing. All right, let me give you an idea, right? Duplication is key. Here's a button response that I would do with the product, right? You can write this down and what to say. This is what I do. These are the key points. And number one, and some of you would have heard this before, some of this, but you've got to adapt it to Arkworld. One, are you serious about losing weight? Or are you serious about, you know, someone might be mocking you, right, about the button. You're serious, I'll talk to you. Number two, there's two things you can talk about. One, ship shakes. You can talk about weight loss. So I'll give you the weight loss version first, and then I'll talk about the pink drink. Next thing you ask is, how much weight do you want to lose? You know, if someone says, you know, because we have badges, you can't see one. I don't have one on me, actually. Lose weight with ship shape buttons. We have burn fat, Jules. I know you love that button. Burn fat. You've got a lot of success with that. Is it burn fat and shape up with ship shape? That's such a good badge. You can get so much from it. And when someone asks you, you can tell them about ship shape. All I do is basically say, you seriously interested in losing weight? How much weight do you want to lose? Number two. Right? What have you tried before? You know, to lose weight. Have you been on any other diets? Be genuine. Don't be pitchy. Don't be salesy. Talk from the heart. What have you tried before? And then lastly, why didn't it work for you? Right? And then you can get them to watch a video. Can't you? Show them the ship shape video. Simple. Now, if you're talking about the pink drink, right? Or I'm going to give you a little mini pitch, by the way, in a second. But if you're talking about the pink drink, instead of saying, you know, how much weight you want to lose, all you need to say is this. Do you have any health issues? Or do you work out? Go to a gym? Do you know anyone? If you want the, how can I put it? The sort of, you know, in the third person kind of approach, you know, not where you're direct. You know what I mean? A little bit more, less gutsy. Then you say to someone, do you know anyone with any health issues or works out, goes to a gym and so on? Then ask them, what have they tried before? Then number four, why didn't it work for you? Now, it obviously didn't, unless they stop using it for some reason, especially if someone's on weight loss and they're still overweight. There must be some reason for it. But you want to ask a couple of leading questions. When someone asks you on a button, that's all you got to do. Just be genuine and caring. Just say, I'll tell you about it. You know, run a health company. Do you know anyone with any health issues? If it's about the pink drink, if it's a pink drink badge, I'll tell you about the pink drink. If it's ship shape, you say, I'll tell you. Have you been on anything before? How much weight you want to lose? Keep it simple, okay? Here's a little mini pitch for you to the badge response or button response. Now, I'll do one on ship shape first, okay? If it's weight loss, this is the way you do it. Ship shape is arguably the greatest weight control, fat-burning product line in the world. That's what I say. Just give them a couple of facts. Write this in your notes. When you're pitching people, whether it be on the phone, wherever it is, try and have a couple of facts. Best way to do it is use these. Because the great thing about these, if I can find a ship shape one, here's a ship shape one. Best thing with these, while you're looking at that beautiful picture, I can tell you, this is the healthiest, most complete program ever, right? Because I'm reading it, right? I actually have done this so many times, right? I had a lady in a pet shop, right? I won't go into it. I got sheep. I don't have children, by the way. Don't know what happened there. If you don't heard last week's story, I won't go into it. But there's obviously something not right, right? I have sheep, right? And I love them, my pets. When I go and get their sheep food, I'm always getting customers. It's like, you know, when I go in there, they ask me on the button or they talk to me and I tell them, and I literally say, look at this. And I just tell them what's on the card. This is designed so that you don't have to do anything. Or you can show them a video. But all I tell them is I give them a couple of facts. So if it's ship shape, I might say it's a new protein. It's the healthiest in the world. It's unbelievable. What a product. You'll lose weight like absolute crazy. And all you got to do is take 2 shakes a day, right? 2 fat burners a day and 1 meal. I lost 28 pounds and 4 inches. You will too. And it's £1.50 a meal. It was $1.50 actually. When do you want to start? Right? She says, now here's the thing, right? You're going to get some questions. I don't get into questions too much. If you know the answer, fine, tell them, be genuine. But if you don't know the answer, here's what you want to say. Look, that's a good question. You know, how does it scientifically work in your body? How does this new protein work? I don't really know the answer, to be honest with you. I don't. What I do know is I took 2 shakes, 2 fat burners every day, 1 meal. I lost 28 pounds in weight, 4 inches from my waist. I can't tell you in 10 weeks. I don't think we're allowed to say that. So I can't tell you that, right? And it was unbelievable what took place, right? And you'll lose weight too, right? And it just costs about $1.50, about £1.20, something like that a day. Sorry, a meal. A meal, by the way, a meal. This is cheap. If it's the pink drink, you say, listen, all you got to do, look, I don't know the answer, right? The pink drink, it's taken from Nobel Prize winning science. Unbelievable, best pre-workout product in the world. Does all these incredible things. So you get your pink drink flyer, here it is. And you can read them the facts on the back. Say, look at that, remotely. ADNO, the science behind it, energy, lean muscle mass, heart disease. I mean, this is arginine-derived nitric oxide. It's nothing to do with us. This is the science. Incredible, right? All you do is take one of these drinks twice a day. It's £1 a drink. £1 a drink? How much are coffees now? A lot of money, right? Do you see my point? It's easy. And you'll get results on it. How would you like to pay? They say, right? Next. I don't argue with it. I'm not. Someone in New York asked me recently, Mark, what do you do to convince people? I said, I don't do anything. I'm not here to convince people. I'm just here to talk to people. I'm not in the convincing business. Why should I convince them? I have the best product in the world. If they either see it or they don't. I don't have to convince you, do I, to eat? Well, then why should I convince? This is important. You either buy it or you don't buy it. If they ask you anything and there's a question, you don't know the answer, all you got to do is say, look, I don't really know. All I know is that, listen, I took 2 of these pink drinks a day. I got this incredible result on it. You know, you can get other testimonials. This is why they're important. You know, we've had people with the most life-changing testimonials. You're going to get them too, and you'll love it. It's £1 a drink. Do you want to buy this thing or don't you? You know what I mean? In a nice way, right? Genuine from the heart, not rude. But try and get out of spending all day arguing about it, right? Because here's the point. You should be doing that all day long. How did I start Arkworld? I was pitching people all day long. I started at 6 in the morning. I was still working at 2 in the morning. If I put gas or petrol in the car, I was pitching the guy. You know, wherever I was, I took my product with me. I was in the street annoying everybody. And I was annoying. But I didn't have time because I knew if I didn't make money, the company wouldn't make money. We'd have a lousy company history and we wouldn't survive. All right. So I was selling the product all day long. I used to have customers come by the meetings. People were coming in and out of the office. What's this pink drink about? Keep it simple. Okay. And always get their contact details. Try and collect phone numbers. Don't, if someone says to you, I'll think about it and get back to you, that's not talking to someone. That's called inviting. Next week, we're going to spend more time on this, but you need to understand what presentations means. This is a massive point. I know you're probably tired and we're about to finish in a minute, but I want to finish on this. It's very important, okay? Very important. You know, a presentation is a decision. You're given a decision. You tell them about the product and you get a decision. If they don't give you a decision, you can't count it as a presentation. I see some people make a mistake of saying, I spoke to 50 people yesterday. And you said, Mark, if I spoke to 10 or 20, one would buy the product. And they said they spoke to 50 people yesterday, 50, right? But they didn't really, because they never even got a decision out of any of them. That's not talking to someone. Giving someone a flyer and saying, give me a call, that's not talking to someone. That's inviting them to talk to you. If you speak to somebody, you tell them all about the product, you tell them all about all these testimonials, and you don't get a decision, that's still inviting because you haven't got to the decision. Try and think of presentations in how many decisions you get, yeses and nos. Let's talk about 3, right? Remember who, what, when, where? Who to look for? Who, what to say? Let's look at the 3rd one, when to say it. You want to be talking to 10 people a day. Part-time or full-time. You don't need to be full-time to talk to 10 people a day. I knew a girl who worked on a checkout and also, well, she actually had 3 jobs. School teacher and worked on a checkout. She recruited 13, 14 distributors a month and made over $2.5 million a year. And some of you probably met her. Someone I grew up with. School teacher, checkout girl. She used to collect the money at night from people's milk bottles. Imagine that, and leave the product on their doorstep. Right? Yeah, do you remember that, Jules? She's going, exactly, right? No excuses, right? I didn't have much going for me when I started Arkworld. The other thing I didn't have much of was excuses. You either do it or you don't. I know that's harsh. I know that sounds hard. I don't mean it to sound hard, but we've got to tell the truth. Talk to 10 a day. I just want to save you a lot of bother with this. Talk to 10. Try and get a repetitive system of talking consistently. Work out how many people you got to talk to get one to buy. Now, this is something a lot of leaders actually don't know. If I asked you, what are your odds? I wonder what your answer would be. You got to know your odds. I'll tell you why you need to know your odds. I don't care if your odds are lousy. I don't care if you're the worst speaker possible in Arkworld. You can be successful if you know your odds. Why? Make a note of this. Let's say your odds are 1 in 10. I'm going to tell you how it works because you may not have been shown this before. You might not have been shown this in multi-level marketing. I don't know. Your odds are 1 in 10. Now, do you know what that means? That means, of course, you're going to get 9 rejections to get 1 person to buy your product. 9 no's to get 1 yes. Now, let's say you're paid $100 profit or pounds. I know you're not, but just to make it easy for my explanation, let's say you make that sale and you get £100 profit. Okay. Ooh. You get a sale, you make £100, right? And let's agree that your odds are 1 in 10. You can get the sale, obviously, without the 9 rejections first. Can you? No, because we've just agreed your odds are 1 in 10. It's impossible. You have to have 9 no's first. And I know some people say they don't like rejection. Well, I'm here to wake you up to some sad news. You ain't going to get very far. We all get rejected, right? If you're a Christian, you should know that more than anybody. You're in a world where you're certainly going to get rejected. So your odds are 1 in 10. So you've got to get 9 no's to get 1 to buy, and we've agreed you make £100 on the 10th person. Here's the point. How much did you make from the sale? If I asked someone to shout out, you'd say £100. I would say to you, you're wrong. You didn't. Thank you, David. You made £10. Why? Because you can't make the £100 on the 10th person without the 9 no's. Therefore, you get £10 a person. Now, we get that, right? Yeah. So every time someone insults you and says, I don't like you, Mark, you sound weird, you never stop talking, I do not want to join this company, and I don't like pink. I say, thank you very much, I've just made £10. Learn to love rejection, right? Learn to love rejection. You make a living from sales. You make a fortune from rejection. Why? Let's do the maths. 10 people, 1 bought it. We've agreed you make £10 a person. Do we agree? How many people said no out of 10? 9? What's 9 times 10? 90. You made £90 from rejection and you made £10 for someone saying yes. Do you know what you should be saying when someone says yes? I really wanted you to say no. I'm getting rich all day long being rejected. Do you see my point? You're looking at it the wrong way. You make a fortune getting rejected. The biggest checks possible in multi-level marketing come from the most rejection. End of story, over and out. You need massive numbers and you need to be rejected. So here's what you do on Monday. I want you to be rejected all day. I want you to be insulted and rejected. We should give a prize weekly, as he admits someone. He's probably been waiting a while. Sorry, David. They're joining now. Merlin's back. Hi, Merlin. You know, I want you to get insulted and rejected, and we should have a prize for the most rejections in Arkworld. We should do recognition sheets on who got rejected more than anyone else. Do you see what I mean? Now you love the rejection. Now you go out there and someone says, I can't stand you. Do you know, I've had people say that I really don't like you, your company, or anything about you. And that was my parents. No, it wasn't. That wasn't my parents. No, no, bless them, love them a bit. Oh, you get my point. People will do this to you. They will. You'll annoy people. I tell you, sometimes people you're close to are the worst. Rejection. Know your odds. Talk to 10 a day. 50 a week. That's 200 a month. You'll get 20 customers with ease if you do proper presentations. With ease. I'm going to give you some tools before we finish. Remember this. Sinaloa. You've heard it before, right? Sinaloa. Safety in numbers and law of averages. When you keep talking, even if you do it wrong, I'm telling you, there's a safety in numbers and law of averages that says you're going to succeed. Someone will buy your product. Not about talent, not about experience, education. What I lack in talent and education, I make up for in numbers. Jim Rohn. Okay. Number 4, where to look, the last one, then we're done. You've done well, by the way, guys. I know it's warm tonight. I know it's longer than we anticipated, but hey, we're Arkworld. We don't do things by the normal clock. And if you don't believe me, try having a 10-minute conversation with David. We tried that once, 4 hours later, and you think I can talk. David knows I love him. I have so much respect for what he's doing. He knows I'm messing with him, and he will get me back. Don't make a mistake about it. But I have a lot of respect for what he's doing. Incredible job, and he's got a great heart. And you guys know that. I thank God for him every day. 4, where to look. That's what it stands for. Then we're done. There are many ways to find people. Use every tool at your disposal, as David reminded me of the other day. Only fools limit tools, right? It's true. Why someone wouldn't want to use a tool, I have no idea. Don't just sell online. You know, I know one person's been telling me they're going to do this business for ages, months, and they're still designing their website. Right? I won't mention him because he's a lovely guy, but he's still designing a website. Anyone, you know what I mean, right? It's like months. I've had people years procrastinating. I had a friend of mine that's joined 12 multi-level marketing companies since I've done Arkworld. A friend of mine. And every time he says, how you doing, Mark? I says, how's it going? I says, getting pretty great. Yeah, pretty awesome. He says, oh, yeah, still around, huh? Yeah, it's pretty, I said, more distributors. See him a month goes, a few months, a year. How you doing, Mark? How's it going? It's pretty more awesome than last time. Wow. It's more distributors, checks bigger. Yeah. Helping people. Yeah. I mean, he'll probably come to me in 10 years. How's it going? Oh, 10 billion. We've helped most of the planet, right? You know what I mean? The good Lord has blessed us, and we're all over Arkworld, Africa, Caribbean. It probably sounds pretty good. You know what I mean? Still procrastinating. Unbelievable. Don't just sell online. Open your ears, open your eyes. Tools are like a menu in a restaurant. Hands up. If you went to a restaurant and you looked at the menu and it just sold chicken. That's all it sold was chicken, and not even great chicken, by the way, but just chicken. Jules, don't make those faces. Chicken, right? You'd be a pretty boring restaurant, wouldn't you? Right? You know, I mean, unless you like chicken, there's anything else on the menu, right? It's boring. There's not much choice. Doesn't give people a choice. Only fools limit tools. You want to provide a menu with choice on it. Flyers, ads, buttons, talking to people you know, going to we'll go through a list in a second. But it's choice is what you want. And here's the next thing. We're all going to favor one or two tools. I always favored for ads and flyers. I was good on the phone. My goal was to get 100 phone calls a day. I thought that was great. Excuse me a moment. I thought that was great until I spoke to David, and he told me he spoke to about 100 an hour. But I massively talked to people every single day, all day long, and I loved the phone. So I wanted to get my phone ringing. So ads and flyers were always my thing, but I still wore the button. I still took my products in public. I did everything else. Why? Because you should be a menu to your distributors. Because someone else might join the company who hates ads and flyers, but they can go out and have no money to spend on advertisements, but they go out and put a button on and make 10,000 a month. Does it make sense to you? Stay loose. And I'll give you some examples. Center of influence, best way to start. You're making notes, family, friends, Christmas card list, co-workers, nationally, internationally. Who do you know in America? Who do you know in UK? Who do you know in Europe? What's going to go to Europe? We'll start building it. Right? Think. You've got to think outside the box. Next one, wear the button. We've spoken about that already. Massively important. Advertise your brand. Another one. Number 3, Arkworld videos. We've spoken about that. Wear the button, push the button. Another good tool. Use the videos. They're free. Easy. Do it for you. They do the job for you. Another one, flyers. Either get flyers made, get glossy ones, or get cheaper ones printed. Use these as business cards, right? Get some flyers made. Let me show you some other tools. Notice boards. And by the way, flyers, make a note. I did 1,000 a day. David, did you do 3,000 a day at one point, flyers in your career? Yeah, imagine that. Right? 1,000. I mean, I thought 1,000 a day was a lot. That's insanity, right? But wow. You know what I mean? I did have the idea of getting a helicopter and hiring one and dropping out about 100,000. I never got around to doing it. Maybe we will. But, you know, so that'd be a good way of doing flyers. But here's the thing with flyers, guys. Write it down. Don't do 100 on Monday and then 3 on Tuesday and 4,000 on Wednesday and then none on Thursday. And inconsistent action equals inconsistent check. I'm telling you now, don't fall into that trap. You'll get bad habits. You do 100 flyers, do 100 flyers every day around what you're doing. If you're doing 1,000, do 1,000 every day, whatever your number is. Cars, windows, doors, dog collars. I put a flyer in a guy's suit who was fast asleep on the train once. It was something to do at the time. He was asleep. I had to talk to somebody. Do you know what I mean? And he was asleep like that, so I put the flyer in his pocket. Get home, right? You never know, right? Someone I knew, you knew, Jules, Gary, I think he had somebody found a flyer on their windscreen wiper. Nothing big about that, I hear you ask, or cry, right? It wasn't a car, it was a plane at Gatwick windscreen wiper. How in the world did a flyer get on a plane windscreen wiper? But they called, right? That's a good one, right? Flyers. Another one, notice boards, gyms, clinics, shops. I was always told if you're not on 10 shop windows, you're not doing your job properly. Are you on 10 shop windows right now every week? Guess where I came from and found out about multi-level marketing? I'm a flyer on a shop window when I was a teenager. Isn't that cool? Now you know why it's good to be on shop windows, right? Whichever way you look at it. By the way, if you haven't been thrown out of an NCP car park yet, you're not doing it properly. Just thought I'd tell you, right? Exactly, right. 3 and you're out. You know, you need to do more flyers. Notice boards, advertisements, right? You know, today you got easy things, online stuff, you know, Indeed, and a lot of these companies, people, you can advertise for free, LinkedIn, everywhere. Get adverts everywhere about your position, about a job, about in the health industry, a new business. You know, I used to run an ad. Here's an idea for you. You could do it within, if ladies, you could change it to businesswoman. I used to have an ad, make me a fortune. International businessman seeks 5 key people to help with his business. Urgently recruiting, start now, call. That was it. I never tell anyone anything in an advert, by the way. You want to know the key to getting your phone ringing? Curiosity. Do you want to know the key to getting people to turn up at a meeting? Curiosity. When you run an ad, say nothing and you get the phone ringing. When they call you, say nothing and they turn up. When they turn up, say nothing and they'll attend the meeting. Then after the meeting and you push the button, you say, do you want to join? And they say yes or no. And then you go to the next person. And you do that all day. It's fun. Remember, we get paid for rejection. So we're looking for 9 no's. So every time someone joins the company, you can go, oh, no. That's 14 distributors I've recruited this week. This is really not working. Come on, guys, turn it around. I know we're tired. We're nearly done. Website. You can have your own website. I'd like it if you did. Just don't spend 3 years designing one, right? And while you're designing it, talk to people, right? We get paid for production, not management. Talk to people on the street. Best recruiting tool is you. Your story is the best, retailing tool you have, not recruiting. It's good recruiting too. By the way, all of these examples, we'll be talking about them in recruiting. Best retailing tool is your own story. Take your product in public. I said it earlier. Take it everywhere with you. Great to go to the gym with. You will get people talk to you. It's fantastic. Use a scrapbook, presentation book for stories. Jules has books and books of stories. She's always writing stories down. She has all these exercise books. Ask for referrals. You know, you spend all this time getting one customer and they know 100 people. Ask for referrals, give prizes, give discounts to your customers. Build a customer base, support them. It's an income. You could make 1, 2, 3,000. Just to let you know, we've had people make 2, 3, 4,000 a month. We had buying 20, when we only had the Pink Drink and Micro, we had people buying 24 of them at a time. We've always had a lot of good retailers. In fact, the record is 124 Pink Drinks in 1 month retail. David, I know, it's insane, isn't it? What a lot of retail that is. 124 customers, that's a lot. I mean, that was 8,000 they made in a month. Yeah, we have other products. I mean, I don't even think you'll find that in a lot of M&M companies. Hold pink parties, David, who asked me this about a couple of days ago. We're not going to go through them tonight. We're going to have a pink party Zoom meeting on this. But if you want to hold a pink party, I've held pink parties. I did them in Florida. It was great. We used to get some finger food, pink balloons. We went to a place called Publix down the road, right? And we got some pink balloons and finger food, a little cheesy on sticks and things. And we got some Prosecco, something light to drink. Of course, the pink drink. We had pink drinks everywhere. We made up jugs of pink drink, about 4 or 5 jugs of them, right? And what we did, we didn't have the video then. So what we used to do, I used to get my friend Dr. Harry to phone in and talk about arginine, right? Now we got videos, and we can do that too. I can call it. You say to me, Mark, I've got 20 people coming to my house. I've got balloons. We got music. We've got, Kool and the Gang playing. I don't know, right? We got, some cool, I need someone, give me a cool name. I need a cool name. We need some cool music playing, right? We got finger food. It's going to be fun. And what you do is you get people there and you tell them you've got something exciting to tell them. That's pink, and you're going to share it with them and you'll love it. And you ask everyone, does anyone know anyone with, and you name, where is my flyer? The science, we can claim on the science because we didn't claim this. This has nothing to do with us. So you say, does anyone have low energy or need endurance? Human growth, all right? Does anyone have heart disease? Anyone know anyone? That's an easier way, right? Anyone work out? Anyone do? I guarantee you'll have people that will. What you do is you play the pink drink video, and there's your pink party, and you have products there, and you have a computer set up, If someone wants to join and become a distributor too, and hold pink parties, that's great. Pink parties. We'll have later discussions later on about it. Awesome pink parties. A lot of fun, especially in Florida. Host your own meetings, training classes, Zoom meetings like this. I'm going to be doing the last one next week. You will get a break from me. I know you're going to be doing your own things. I know, David, you're going to be doing stuff, Jules, and so on. Use Zoom, use WhatsApp, connect people, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, sign up, as I said, on social media, advertise online. There's a lot of stuff online. Retail profit, guys, is the most important area of income there is by far. You think recruiting is? Royalties are? No, royalties are a result of massive recruiting with people buying product. Never forget that. The foundation to your check is retail, and you can use all these tools. There are many things. Work with your sponsor, work with Jules or me at the company. Put a plan together. How many flyers a day? How many adverts that week are you going to run? How many phone calls a day do you want? How many gyms are you going to visit? How many notice boards? Do anything you can do. Videos like Joanna's doing. Take it seriously. I know it's a long time we've been talking, probably longer than we were going to, but it's so important. There's a lot of information here, and this is your future. Is it too much for a couple of hours for your future? No, of course it isn't. Of course it isn't. And we want to give you as much as we can. But take it seriously. You set a great example for the people that you haven't even recruited yet, so that they look at you and you can do meetings and you can do trainings and you can help them, right? And you'll have the tools for it. It's the foundation to your business. Do you know, I'll give you something before we're going to close now. Before we do, I wanted to say this. Do you know, you earn, mention this, do you know you earn $3,000 a month in Arkworld from just 100 people eating? You might want to write that down. Do you want a $3,000 a month check? Then you just need 100 people eating. That's buying one multi-pack. That's a pink drink, micro, and purple pill. 100 people eating. You could recommend 100 people to Tesco. They don't give you $3,000 though, do they? Right, exactly, right? Listen, next week, we're going to finish there. Next week, we're going to do the second part of this, and we're going to get into recruiting. Okay, we're going to get into recruiting, promotion, duplication, and take this a stage further. We're also going to talk about things like really monthly goals, right? Having a deadline every single month is very, very important. To have a deadline, to work to it. There are some golden rules with this. Playing the monthly game is one of them. Massively important. So you've got to be part of next week. If you're serious about this, it's an absolute must. And we're going to finish there tonight because I know it's a long time we've been talking. Listen, here's the point, right, of this. If you want to earn the unfamiliar, you're going to have to do the unfamiliar. Because if you do what's familiar to you, you'll only earn what's familiar to you and has been in your life. It was hard for me as a kid. I had to change some things. You're going to need a retail system. We haven't got into recruiting yet, but you do need to think about selling products. And that may mean you're making some changes. Ask your sponsor, talk, let's get together on phone calls. I'll throw some more ideas at you, but you're going to need a system, daily method of operation, Monday through to Saturday, every single week, that's constructive. I hope some of this time tonight and on this video is constructive for you. And I appreciate it. It's a lot to take in. But like I said, you're not going to get there without it. To do the unfamiliar, to earn the unfamiliar, you need to do the unfamiliar. Keep going no matter what it takes. No matter what people say. If people join, great. If they don't, great. So what? Don't worry about rejection. Write this in your notes. SW, SW, SW. Katrina already knows what it is. Sneaky grin. SW, SW, SW. Do you know what it stands for? Some will, some won't. So what? Right? Some will, some won't. So what? Is that going to affect your future because someone doesn't do what you want them to do? Don't put your future in someone else's hands. You don't get paid for results. You get paid to talk. Don't get attached to the result. You talk regardless of the result. Just keep talking. We get paid to tell stories. You don't get paid for customers and distributors. Your job is to keep talking. You need the diamond in the skip of coal attitude is what you need. And I was told this once. Wonderful. Don't have time to go into it properly. But imagine a skip outside your house. And I had $100 million diamond. And we filled that skip, a big, humongous skip, right? We filled it full of black, dirty coal. Huge. And we put $100 million diamond in that skip of coal. And I said to you, and it got covered in soot, very difficult to find. And I said to you, I want you to find it. If you find it, it's yours. Question: how long would you look for it? Until you find it, obviously, is the answer, right? Now let's make it worse. Let's put 10 skips up that road with black coal in and one diamond in one of the skips. Same problem, just 10 times worse, if that makes sense, right? And you've got to find it. I'll ask the same question. How long would you look for it? Of course you would. You'd be crazy not to. You wouldn't have to work again. You could do it. You could help anyone you wanted to help. You'd look for the diamond. Here's the point. Let's say you had just one skip and you emptied it. And you emptied and you got the last piece of coal and you couldn't find the diamond. But you knew the diamond was in there. Would you look again through all the coal? Would you? Yes or no? Yeah, of course you would. You know why? Because you know it's there. You're going to have the same attitude with this. When I started Arkworld, I knew I had a diamond in my hands, or one that it could be in my hands. I knew if I did the work, it was there. But I had a lot of coal to go through. You understand? I had a lot of digging, a lot of sieving through coal when you start an MLM company. Let me tell you, no one gives you much chance. And you're going to have some tough times too, but you've got to have that attitude. You will find the diamond. You will succeed, but you've got to keep going through the coal. Even when you can't find it, you start again. It could be in the 8th or 9th skip, but you keep going because you know you're going to get it. That's an attitude you don't just need with Arkworld, you need it in anything to succeed. People have often gone out there, right? You hear about it, enormous successes from nothing. They were broke. I knew a guy picked oranges once, went out and made $2 million in his 2nd year. Picked oranges. You know, in Arkworld, I've had people who couldn't even read or write go out and in a matter of months get to the top positions in the company, the leadership thing, Millionaires thing, Millionaires Club, in a few months. And they couldn't read or write. I've had some people still in the same time designing a website, right? They have a different attitude. They see the diamond. They know it's there, so they keep going no matter what it takes. You're going to have the same attitude. People often say they don't like rejection. I had someone saying that to me this week, actually. They don't, you know why they don't like rejection? They don't understand the importance of it. As I said earlier, you make a living from sales. You make a fortune from rejection. So know your odds. Don't walk in fear. It's destructive. Fear is so destructive. You're a Christian, you'll understand this more than anything. Walk in faith. Have some faith, will you? You know, keep going. Do you know, you probably know, you know, Jesus in the boat story, I call it. You know, my Lord Jesus was out there. He went on the island. He left them on the boat, right? There's Peter and the disciples. They're on the boat. And Jesus starts walking back on the water. And Peter sees him. And Jesus calls him out. Says, come join me on the water, Peter, right? Peter thought, you've got to be kidding, right? Imagine him saying, come join me on the water. So Jesus beckons him out. What does Peter do? By the way, you got to admire this. I mean, that took a lot of guts, right? I mean, he gets out you got to get out of the boat. Write that in your notes. You know, there's going to come a time when you're going to have to get out of the boat to succeed with Arkworld. So what does he do? Had the guts to get out of the boat. That's change. Then he walks on the water. Peter starts walking on the water. He gets halfway across because Jesus told him to. He said, you'll be safe, you'll be fine. Guess what happened halfway across? He sinks. Do you know why he sunk? Jesus had to put his hand down and bring him out. Do you know why? Fear stepped in because he looked around and thought, I'm on water. Right? This is pretty scary. Right? What am I doing? Reality set in. He started to fear instead of faith, and he sunk. Now, that's an example of what can happen to you with worry, fear. It's destructive, you know, fearing other people, rejection, what people think of you, all of these things. Get rid of them, right? Don't worry, you know, what others think of you. Don't worry about try. I know it's hard. We all do it to an extent, right? But it's what God thinks that matters, not what people think of you. You're not responsible for what other people think, say, and do. You're responsible for what you think, say, and do. That's how this works. Any of you can do this, I promise you. Don't let anyone steal your dreams. They dump all over you, because people will. They did it to me when I started Arkworld. No one gave me a chance, right? Say, I'm going up the mountain. I'm going to climb this mountain no matter what. You'll either see me waving at the top or dead on the bottom, but I ain't coming back, right? That's it. Because you will. I have people in my family say to me, Mark, you can't climb mountains, right? Doesn't work. You have no experience. You say, I'm going to the top. You've got to have that attitude of, I'm going to keep going no matter what. Don't listen to it. You know, you can't do that. You haven't got any money. I had this when I started Arkworld. You don't even have any money, Mark. You've never run a company. I said, I'm going to the top, right? Either come with me or get out of my way, but I'm going. I'm packed, right? You've got to have that do or die attitude. It's what you're going to need, a do or die attitude. So important, no matter what they say. Don't worry, keep going. What, do you know how destructive worry is anyway? David reminded me of this recently. The heavy chains of worry are forged in idle hours. The heavy chains of worry are forged in idle hours. It's always when you're doing nothing. Do you want to stop worrying? Act. Action always takes you away from worry. You know, I truly believe this is the best business opportunity in the industry by miles. It's also the best pension plan in the world. You ever thought of that? Unbelievable. You know, if you're not 21 anymore, awesome. We got the best pension plan. You'll get more out of this than you will from the state. Remember, none of us can get there on our own. We can't do it. We need the Lord first, who made this possible, because it wouldn't be here without him. Praise him. And we need each other. We need to help each other. You know, put God first. As I said, can't do anything without him. Be grateful for what you have here with Arkworld. This is a phenomenal opportunity. It's taken many years and a lot of hard work to get to this stage today, for what you have in your hands. We'll train you. We'll work with you. I know it's a lot to take in, right? I understand that. And we're going to do part 2 next week, and then you'll be able to do your own meetings and trainings, and I'll be there for you. I'll help you. We'll do workshops. We're going to go through the marketing plan. We're going to go through a lot. And listen to me, you're not going to get a lot of this day one. It takes a time, but you can earn while you learn. There's a lot here at Arkworld. We'll teach you millionaire skills you won't get in the world anymore. David, just give me a nod of the head. Are they teaching a lot of stuff these days out there, how to be successful? No, you know they're not. Of course they're not. And he knows that, and I know that. We have something very special here, and I hope you appreciate it. I really do. Be grateful for it. Gratitude is the best attitude. I'm going to leave it there and say I'll see you next week for part 2 of this. If you got questions, stay behind. We'll go through them. Don't forget, I always tell you, I always get a smile. All you got to do, use the products, talk to people, teach others to do the same. And I promise you, together, we can take Arkworld completely around this entire planet, and we'll change the lives of millions. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, and may God bless each and every one of you. Good night.